So they end up trying to sue and things like that.
Nowadays with the internet, though, and because these cars are being sold on the internet, you can Google the VIN, and the VIN will usually give you some sort of trail or paper trail of where the car's been, what it's sold for previously. That's always a good thing to check.
Well, that might not be a bad idea. I just don't know if you can do that with every car. You can only do that with really high-end, exotic, zillion-dollar cars.
No, I mean, even, we find people ask us to appraise a Model A. And give us the VIN, and we'll Google it and see that it's ran through another auction house, and this is what it sold for. So, there's always a little bit more information somewhere.
Oh, see, I didn't know that. But the main thing is, it irritates me that I'm looking there on Facebook Marketplace or someplace, and somebody decides to advertise a vehicle that's just. I saw a little Honda Mini Trail 50, and it was sitting in a bunch of weeds. And the guy wanted $1,900 for this thing, and it hasn't been running for a long time. It's in his backyard, and the weeds were taller than the seat. And I'm like, and you want $1,900 for it? You haven't even started it in 2 years.
That's the price of a running driving one,
right? And I'm just like, come on, man. I mean, I want to call him and slap him over the phone. I mean, I can't believe these people are that.
And sometimes you can get them. You can talk them down, right? And you can say, "Hey, this one sold for this. Look at the difference in price, whatever." And then some people you just can't make sense of. They're talking about a one-off, whatever that sold for 5 times the amount of what theirs is worth, and they think they have the same thing.
I know. It just irritates me that they don't have the wherewithal to even just wash it or clean it up and take it out of the woods or out of the yard and put it on the driveway and at least wipe it down. Okay. I mean,
we tell people at Classic all the time, professional pictures, not even professional, like you have to hire a professional, but like you're saying, you clean it, you put it in a nice location, and that is the subject of your photos. That helps 80% of cars sell for their requested reserve. Just doing those simple things. It's showing your car in the best light.
And in these vehicles that the floorboards are so rusted, you look like a Flintstone car, and they want the same price as something where it's running and driving. It ran and drove, 5 years ago. But don't worry, I know what I got. No low ballers.
Yeah, it's tough, and sometimes you want to talk sense into these people, and sometimes you just got to go to the next vehicle because they are clearly in a different world.
They are. So what kind of cool cars? I saw that you had some really cool cars last week, and I just really thought that you guys were really been rocking. I mean, you've had the 55 Chevy, you've had some really cool vehicles. I mean, you had a neat Riviera. And
I can talk about some of the ones we're coming up in the future. We got a really nice GTO as well as 2 Jeeps. There's a really nice Corvair with a cool body kit going on right now. And a 65 Bonneville. So, we got some good selection. Every week we're posting about 12 to 15 cars. So if there's something you don't like, you come back next week and I should have something you do like.
You got an Eldorado, which is a
follow
really
the spring
cool
and summer
color
action of Cleveland Cobras minor league football on Western Reserve Radio. Follow the Cobras as they compete against teams from around the region in pursuit of a Tri-Point Football League championship. And if you're looking to continue your football career after high school, college, or even the pros, or to be part of the Cobras staff, go to Facebook at Cleveland Cobras Football. Or contact owner Jesse Caldwell at 330-416-3442. Be a part of the excitement of Cleveland Cobras football.
Looking for future leaders we can believe in? Look no further than the high school student athletes right here in Ohio. High school sports teach young people how to be effective leaders. It includes learning to listen, accepting responsibility, being a good role model, and it's about respect. The result, it transcends sports. It gives us hope for the future. This message presented by the Ohio High School Athletic Association and the Ohio Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
You're listening to Western Reserve Radio at westernreserveradio.com on the Live 365 network and the Live 365 app.
It'll cost less by booking on besthotelrates.com. BestHotelRates.com works with all the top hotels in the country while delivering you great hotel and room choices for the best prices. Why wait? Go to besthotelrates.com, enter your email address, and start shopping for your next hotel room. Besthotelrates.com. It's in the name. Besthotelrates.com. You're going on a trip, but where are you going to stay? How much will it cost? Well, it'll cost less by booking on besthotelrates.com. BestHotelRates.com works with all the top hotels in the country while delivering you great hotel and room choices for the best prices. Why wait? Go to BestHotelRates.com, enter your email address, and start shopping for your next hotel room. BestHotelRates.com. It's in the name. BestHotelRates.com.
Sports Map Tonight with Luke Morrow.
I'm guilty of that too sometimes. Buying concert tickets.
Oh, that's the worst one.
Costs you more money because ticket prices only go up typically to a game, to a concert. In case something happens the next few weeks or months, I don't want to buy the tickets and get held up.
I think I have a commitment issue when it comes to concerts. Like, I don't know if I'm going to want to go later.
Right, exactly.
What's something else better might come up, or...
I'm the same way. I think it definitely is a commitment problem. Although commitment makes it seem too harsh. For me, I don't want to say I have a commitment problem. I just don't like being locked into a plan. Yeah, I like to stay a little more flexible. Maybe I want to do something else. So when the time comes, someone tries to make plans with me, like, I'll let you know how I'm feeling that day. I don't want to make a plan with you, and then Saturday I wake up and, I don't feel well, or I don't feel like doing it anymore. Like, I don't want to have to. I guess it is a commitment problem. I don't know.
Then we're all upset. I'm looking out for the other person,
That's right. That's how I view it, too. I'm trying to do you a favor.
Sports Map Tonight, weeknights from 10 to 1 Eastern.
Wake up calls.
USA Today coaches preseason poll was released yesterday. Georgia's number 1, Michigan, Alabama, Ohio State, and LSU round out the top 5. Now, this is my yearly explanation as to why this matters for those of you who are new. This is all marketing. It is to get little numbers next to other little numbers so they'll sell you early games.
Wake up call with Tony D and Ron Culver. Weekdays from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern.
Wake up calls.
Jerry Jones loves himself some Jerry Jones.
Of course he does. Yeah.
Just picture like a little meeting room, a small little meeting room, probably seats maybe 20, 25 people. And as part of the tour, you can go there, you sit down in a seat, a hologram of Jerry Jones appears right before you. You can ask Jerry questions, and through AI, Jerry will answer them.
What he did was he went, hey, guys, listen, I'm not going to be around forever. They got an eternal flame for Al Davis. Now, I'm not going to copy Al Davis, what they did for him, but what could we do for me? And then they threw out some ideas, and then guy goes, create a hologram AI. He's like, wait a minute, hold on one second. AI, meaning I can answer questions for all of eternity? That's right. That's awesome. That is so awesome. Jerry Jones, man.
Yeah, one of a kind.
Wake up call with Tony D and Ron Culver. Weekdays from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern.
College football is in full swing, and the American Heart Association's Paul Bear Bryant Awards campaign has begun. Honors the legendary Alabama football coach who died of a heart attack just 28 days after his final victory in the Liberty Bowl. What better way for Coach Bryant's legacy to live on than by recognizing other remarkable college football coaches? Go to BryantAwards.org, then click on Fan Vote, then cast your vote for your favorite college football coach. Who are you rooting for? That's BryantAwards.org.
Youngstown, Warren, and Salem's local and national sports talk can be found on TuneIn and the Live 365 app at Western Reserve Radio, WRDB, The Scourge.
Mill Creek Golf Course is the Valley's leader for golfing fun with a practice range, short game area, and hole 55 bar and grill all on site. Mill Creek Golf Course features a friendly PGA professional staff available for instruction, along with 36 challenging holes designed by the legendary Donald Ross. Don't forget family fun night golf on Fridays and Saturdays for just $25. For details and tee times, call 330-740-7112 or go online to millcreekmetroparks.org.
Western Reserve Radio is the Valley's online source for sports talk and local live events. Tune in and be a part of their live weekly shows, as well as all of the hard-hitting action of Youngstown Phantoms hockey, high school football, and the GDFL. Find them at westernreserveradio.com. Tune in and the Live 365 app to be a part of the area's sports conversation. Be sure to visit them on Facebook at Western Reserve Radio and on Twitter at WR_radio.
Located in Applewood Estates in Boardman Township, the Applewood Swim and Tennis Club offers a pleasant family environment. Choose a membership that meets your needs and enjoy a relaxing venue that includes not only swimming for the family, but also youth activities such as competitive swimming, tennis, and more. Enjoy the friendly atmosphere all summer long with the staff and members of the Applewood Swim and Tennis Club. For more information, go to applewoodswimandtennis.com or call 330-953-2833.
Experience nature's bounty with Creation's Backyard. Elevate your health with the most nutrient-dense foods on earth. From farm to table, sustainably cultivated with care. Grown locally in Niles, Ohio with no chemicals or synthetics ever. Unlock your culinary creativity with Creation Backyard Microgreens. Convenient local delivery and pickup options available. Order now at creationsbackyard.com or call 330-282-7208.
It's time to kick back and listen to the Sports Page with your host, Pat Lucia, right here on Western Reserve Radio. You can call the show at 330-707-4202 and tell everyone what's on your mind in the wonderful world of sports. Now, here's your host, Pat Lucia.
Saturday morning Sports Page, Pat Lucia, 330-707-4202. Get in and talk sports. We do it Saturday morning here on Western Reserve Radio in the Gessler Propane Studios in Struthers, Ohio. A lot to talk about in the wonderful world of sports. Almost every Saturday morning I come in with Dave Clark and we say, where do we want to start? And it's like, can't get to everything. Football, especially football, is unbelievable. But we have baseball. I know we don't get into a lot of baseball on our show, but we do mention that in baseball, the best four teams are out of the playoffs. Yeah. Teams that had the four best records, which is Tampa Bay, was 99 wins. Then actually the Dodgers, Baltimore Orioles, I believe, were 100 wins, and then Atlanta had 104 wins, all out in their first round. Tampa Bay went out 99 wins. They went out in the first round to Texas, and then Baltimore was swept by Texas. The Dodgers were swept by the Arizona Diamondbacks, and then Atlanta lost 3 out of 4 to the Philadelphia Phillies for the second year in a row. Yeah. So, in essence, I don't know what baseball is all concerned because they have that layoff. 3 of the 4 teams that, quote, had the week off lost in the first round. So, baseball's trying to figure out maybe they'll do away with that and allow more teams in their playoffs. And therefore, they feel they'll get the better teams to advance. It's almost like on the line of hockey.
Yeah.
But that's where baseball is right now. Last night, we had a really weird game for the Colorado Buffaloes. I did not stay up for this one. It started at 10 o'clock.
Yes.
Colorado was up 29-0 at halftime.
Mm-hmm.
And then, in essence, they got beat in double overtime, 46-43 by the Stanford Cardinal.
Yep.
So where does that put us as far as Colorado goes to 4-3, Stanford goes to 2-4, mm-hmm. And in essence, now the people that are critical of Deion Sanders will obviously have more things to criticize Deion about, because that's pretty much all this is with Colorado. Is you have the Deion haters, the Deion lovers, and as I almost feel like as the world turns.
Yep. That's exactly what you got.
So, Dave Clark, did you watch any of that game? How much of that game, or did you watch any of it, and how much did you watch?
I couldn't. I just got to it was 29-19, and that's it. I was too tired. I couldn't, after doing the game, I was trying to stay up And I was just too tired, especially us at that after the high school game, and basically you're broadcasting outside. So
yeah,
at that particular stadium. So, once the body relaxed, it was a done deal. I can't believe I made it to the fourth quarter. And there were intermittents because, sometimes I was there at the second quarter, and then when I opened my eyes again, it was the fourth quarter. So that's the type of way I watched that game. And then for you to give that score, man, they played for quite some time to get it up to that score there.
Yeah, they did. That was the biggest comeback in Stanford Cardinal history, and it was I guess, the biggest collapse in Colorado history, from what I read this morning.
Yeah, one of the things that's going to happen for Colorado, we talked about it. Like you said, we know the haters; there's a lot of them. But the problem they got until they get the big ugly, as they call them, on both sides of the ball, this is the type of team they're going to be. They can score. They can score with anybody. But the problem is they can't stop anyone. And they don't have the front seven on defense, and then they don't have the pure offensive line that they need on offense. And that's always going to falter for them.
Yeah, so basically sounds like, the reality is you knew this. I mean, Dion, people keep forgetting that Colorado was 0-11 last year.
Right. Oh, yeah.
They didn't win a game. No. So for Dion to really come in and not only, make them very competitive, but they've won some games, and I think the Pac-12, which is basically soon to be the Pac-2, is good conference, better than they were previously. A lot of great quarterbacks in that conference, fun conference as far as, I think, from an entertainment standpoint, to watch them play.
Right.
I mean, they light it up. Maybe the defense is okay, but the offense and the quarterbacks can sure put on a great show.
Right.
And you're going to have these games, like I said, Colorado, as you said, until Colorado really, Dion is recruiting and then get a few more kids from the portal, and he'll develop this team and make it, I think he obviously will make it a very good team in time.
Right.
So he's on the way of building. And as you said, you're going to have these games where their defense probably got tired in that second half. Stanford was able to score, and then, a younger team. And in essence, they just came out of on the wrong side of a shootout. I mean, this team almost beat USC. Colorado did a couple of weeks ago. So they could play with anybody, I think, pretty much in the conference. I mean, Oregon was a blowout, but all their other games have been really tight games.
Yeah, yeah. And I was looking for them, even when they started off, 7 wins, would be a good barometer for them. I mean, the way they started out, I knew it was going to be tough. He took on people don't realize that he took on a program that was, like you said, no wins. And then, they see him winning. They didn't want him because the way he done it. But it was so funny because we brought up the situation when they talk about the portal and how many people he got in the portal. And then we looked at the other schools who did the same thing, like at Nebraska. Coach Rule talked about it. He really was about that, how much Dion went to the portal. Well, Dion only got 9 more players than he did in the portal. So, I mean, they try to deflect a lot of that and put it all on there. But that's the way it's going to be, in our big schools, our top-ranked schools, they hit the portal too. But, see, they don't have to go and get 30, 40 players. They just get particular guys for different weaknesses on their team, and they're ready. They're ready to roll. That's all Alabama got to do. That's all your Ohio States, your top schools. That's all they really got to do if they go to the portal. Just a couple little spots just to strengthen. They're set. So, people don't understand that. And I really, for us, I like it because I like the chances of you got all type of schools having a chance of getting in the college playoffs instead of the same 3 or 4, all our SEC teams and whatever one we might put in there. So we like that diversity. Plus, we like chaos.
Yeah, definitely. It is a little chaotic,
Mm-hmm.
and that's
We
what
like
we
that.
love the most.
Yeah, that's
on the
even
show
better
because we have said that many, many times. Chaos does run the Saturday morning sports page, and it's the transfer portal. And the NIL's got really nothing to do. Well, it does maybe with some people transferring, but we've been, championing NIL for I don't know how many years. I never thought I just never thought it would get here.
Yeah,
but it did.
We talked about it all the way back to the Tressel situation. That come on, man, all the way back to that nonsense.
Tattoo gate.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, you got guys. I mean, these schools are making boatloads of money off of these kids, but you don't want them to profit anything. And we know it's
right.
Well, I don't want to diverse to the NCAA. We can make the whole program of that. We can rip them apart. We won't do that.
Yes, we have. We have gone down that road way too many times, and we've liked to kick, as we refer to, kick the can down the road. We like to kick the NCAA down the road.
Yep, sure do.
When we do it on a regular basis, but that's the best part. But there was a caller last week that brought this up about what we thought of the NIL and the portal. And I know that caller wasn't really in favor of it. We actually are in favor. I am in favor. And I said, you have. I like the transfer portal.
Yeah, me too.
You've made other teams. Like, here's an example. Last week, we saw Louisville beat Notre Dame.
Yes.
I didn't realize Louisville was that good.
Yeah, I know.
I didn't realize this. And I'm watching that game. And Louisville pretty much out physical Notre Dame. They beat them pretty good.
Yeah.
And I was like going, wow. And they're undefeated. And I'm thinking, Louisville might be a team. It's too bad they don't have the 12 team this year where they would put those 12 teams in, because I'd be scratching my head going, after I watched Louisville and I really hadn't seen them before Notre Dame game, man, Louisville might be one of the teams to get in a 12 team setup.
Yeah, for sure. Because I mean, when I seen them, and people, that's a good point that you brought up. They didn't just, they happened to win the game. They was much more physical than Notre Dame. They were. And that shocked me. And, they did a good job of getting the players they need in there, plus the ones they already had. And that's a solid football team.
Yeah, I was shocked. I just was, I didn't realize, I know they were undefeated. I looked at who they won and, and I thought, well, okay, they've beaten some good, they had an okay schedule. They won their games, but nothing jumped out at me. And I thought, Notre Dame, and we got it wrong because we did pick, I think I had Notre Dame winning. I think you did too.
Yeah.
And they didn't. I mean, obviously, like I said, Notre Dame just got beat.
Yeah, they just got beat. They didn't lose the
they
game.
Just flat out got beat.
Yeah, they just got beat. I mean, they got out physical. Everything in that game, you just seen it. So, I definitely like you said, the portal. The thing I agree with the caller from last week. The only part is we can't have where we're transferring every year. That would be ridiculous. They just all over the place. So you might have to cap that. But far as allowing these teams to improve through the portal, it makes it much better, because for years, we started off with the college playoff. It was nice when it started off. And then you started getting to where it was the same teams plus maybe one new one every year. It was getting pretty boring to me. It's the same teams every year. You want to see some diversity. That's why the NFL is so great, because, you might get some of the same. You get your Kansas Cities, but it's always a team or two that jumps up each year. And really, some of these teams are just one player away from being able to beat some of these top teams. That's why the NFL is so great. But we like to see college football get to that level where it's a lot of parity, and it's fun to watch. Then it's very good. Like today's games, we got so many good ones, matchups that That's what you want to see.
Yeah, we do. I mean, college football has got a lot. I think the NFL's got very interesting matchups too, and we're going to get to the NFL, but college too. I think it's just got the Oregon-Washington game at 3:30 is going to jump out at you, and then obviously the USC Notre Dame game to me is going to highlight the night. But then you also have some really other interesting college matchups that I think is when you start looking at these. I was trying when I was putting the college games together. I was like, I had 9 down. I could have had 15.
Yeah,
I mean, we could have had picking college games almost as many as the NFL.
Yeah,
that's how many good college games are out there on the slate to look at.
Right.
And college is getting closer to the NFL because of the parity, and that's got to do with the transfer portal.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And I think a team like Louisville has built a really solid team. A lot of it, I believe, through the portal and with recruiting, but they've really assembled a really good program down there. And I mean, I just remember Louisville being really good when Lamar Jackson was there.
Yeah.
And then they kind of fell down a little bit, but they were always respectable, solid team.
Mm-hmm.
But this year, I think you have to consider them as a favorite to win the ACC or in the conversation.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's going to be there. I mean, it's some teams there. That's another good conference with North Carolina. I think they play Miami today, and that's going to be something because Miami had the ultimate collapse in their loss last week. A game that how do you lose that in the last play, and even to get to the position of losing it? So, but that conference
Miami
is great.
didn't take the knee.
Yeah, it didn't make sense.
And evidently, the word was the running back was 99 yards, and he wanted to get 100 yards.
Yeah, and he's supposed to. It was supposed to be that he's supposed to just went down. Well, I put it to the point it shouldn't even been a handoff. Just take the knee with the quarterback.
Right.
So they gave the ball to him. He runs it. Fumble comes up, and that's a terrible way to lose. And that, we're gonna see what they're made of today, because you have a game like that, you got to come back against the North Carolina team. Let's see where their morale is at.
Yeah, right now, that's tonight on ABC at 7:30. North Carolina is actually laying 3 and a hook to Miami.
Okay.
So we're going to get to that game to look at. The NFL is interesting. It's starting. You could kind of see it where teams are going and where both ways.
Right.
Unfortunately, the Sunday night game, the New York Giants are playing, and that's unfortunate because Andrew Thomas is still out with the hamstring. Now Daniel Jones is out.
Right.
And then Saquon Barkley is questionable, so we don't know if he's going to play. Tyrod Taylor is going to play.
Right.
And my concern with watching the Giant offensive line, Tyrod Taylor's had some, injuries in the past. I'm genuinely concerned. I don't know if he's going to get to see the end of the game because the Giant offensive line, it's one of the worst offensive lines I've ever seen. And I saw the hit on Daniel Jones took. The quarterback from Miami was just totally unabated. No one touched him. And it was a clean hit.
Mm-hmm.
And he just hit Daniel Jones hard. He was running shoulder pads and he just hit him solid. And, Jones went down, then went out with the neck injury. And I'm just thinking, is Tyrod Taylor going to get to finish this game? Or are we going to see DeVito, who's the backup? He played at Syracuse and then transferred to Illinois. Will he actually get to see some time? Because I don't know if Tyrod Taylor can take those hits.
Yeah. We'll find out in this game here, because we're right at that point where some of these teams is just Well, we know it's the NFL, so they'll rise up somewhere in a game when you don't think they're going to do something, but they are in dire needs of health because there's a lot of guys that are banged up on that football team.
A lot of injuries now. Week 6 will start. I think I don't know, of all the games last week, the one that obviously I think was the most surprising in the NFL, the Dallas Cowboys and the 49ers. I mean, I thought it would be a fairly competitive game.
Yep.
And it wasn't. It wasn't even close to being competitive. I mean, Dallas was basically dominated from it seemed like the kickoff. It went downhill right then. And Dallas was never in that game. And I never thought Dallas had a chance to even compete after the first quarter.
Yeah, I mean, they looked flat. They looked like they weren't prepared. Got dominated all over the place. I mean, everywhere. Just complete domination. The defense was the defense. I mean, yes, you lost Diggs at corner. Okay, I understand that, but where's Micah Parsons?
No.
I love Michael Parsons. Great player, but as I said a long time ago, when a lot of Dallas fans, and I used to be, like I told you, ever since the Jerry Jones came and got rid of my buddy Jimmy Johnson, I've been gone from a Dallas fan from back then. I got it. I mean, that don't quit comparing. At one time, they wanted to compare Micah to Lawrence Taylor.
LT.
And then they wanted to say, well, they wanted to downgrade it a little bit and say he's comparable to Wilbur Marshall. He's not even comparable to Wilbur Marshall. He's not even close. Because those guys dominated when they needed to. Your Derek Thomas. Those guys didn't go where I don't remember watching the game with any of those 3 guys I just talked about. Derek Thomas, LT, or Wilbur Marshall at the outside linebacker position, that they played in the game and you just didn't hear nothing about them. I don't remember ever seeing that. Those guys made a difference somewhere. Even if they lost the game, you knew they were playing. Michael Parsons was non-existent in the San Francisco game. He was absolutely dominated.
Yeah, and they showed that too during the game. That's the genius of almost at least Kyle Shanahan, and the defensive coordinator, just how they kind of put that package together where they had Micah Parsons just couldn't get. He was getting blocked by 3 different people.
Yeah.
3 different players. Like he turned, he was hit, turned again, he was hit, and then he was out of the play.
Yeah.
And he could never get any kind of rush. He couldn't get near the quarterback. And it was almost like they just totally took Micah Parsons with that defensive scheme that they put together, the 49ers did. They just took Micah Parsons totally out of the game.
Right. And
I've never seen that.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. When I seen that happen to him, now I've seen in a couple other games, he has been where he's not really there. And that's why I said I don't like doing that. Don't put him in that category. He's a great player. And I think that's too much pressure that you put on a guy like that. You want to raise him to that level because, I think about LT. I think about Wilbur. They used to game plan for those guys. And they'll have all kind of people trying to dominate them. And they still make something happen in that game where they're a big factor. And that just lets you know the greatness of those guys. And not to say that Michael will not be great. I think he's one of the best D-line, outside linebacker combo, or just move them all around in the game. But, sometimes what I noticed from when he's dominated like that, it almost seems like he takes his foot off the gas pedal and doesn't come with the same force. And today's game is different than those guys back then too. They just had a different type of motor and mentality. So and maybe I'm just dating myself of in my age and what I think of football back then. That might have something to do with it, but I just think they are. It's a different mentality those guys had back then.
You know, when you look back, and it was a different game. I believe, you know, for the most part, it was more physical game. Players just, I don't know how you say got away with more because, you know, referees, I just think that the hits, you know, the helmet to helmet hits, I mean, they never called the helmet to helmet hit back then.
Oh, no.
In the 80s, in the 90s,
No.
and even into the 2000s. I mean, they really didn't, that almost came into play about 5-6 years ago, but back in the 80s and the 90s and the quarterbacks, I mean, Tom Brady would have never been able to play as long as he did if he played in the 80s and the 90s.
No, not those hits you were allowed to put on the quarterback, even after he's released the ball.
Right. Those guys used to get, they would absolutely get, you know, planted. They get smeared, or however you want to call it. They would get hit.
Yep.
And, you know, again, I just think of all the players and all the, you know, the physical defenses. I mean, they were saying that they were talking a little bit about Deacon Jones, and they didn't really they didn't have sacks when Deacon played, and I think Deacon was the one that coined the phrase sack.
Yeah, he did. And the thing about it, when I know they have who's the sack leader all time. Still, I believe he definitely was, because they tried to do as much film as they could.
Right.
And they said when they did even the films, he was way up near 200, and they didn't even have all the film on him. So,
yeah,
I mean, the guy used to just completely dominate, and the head slap. That's it. That was the other thing they talked about, is the head slap. Oh man,
you can't do that now, but back then, head slap was part of playing defense.
Yeah, and that was part of your pass rush, and he the one that started that, and he used to knock guys into dreamland with that head slap and getting to the quarterback.
Now, he was, like I said, it was funny, but we talked a lot about Deacon, and it just went, like I said, what always amazed me back then is, like, when you think of Deacon Jones in the, how we talk about draft picks, drafts, and they analyze these drafts now, but the beautiful Deacon Jones he went to South Carolina State and then transferred to Mississippi Valley State.
Mm-hmm.
And then he was actually...
Tell about the draft pick. That's the one that cracked
This is the best part. Deacon Jones was drafted in 1961 in the 14th round. He was 186th pick, but he was drafted in the 14th round. Oh, and he was with the... LA Rams from 61 to 71. Then he was with the Chargers from 72, 73. And then ultimately he finished his career with the Washington Redskins.
Yep. And people might say
1974.
He's 100 and you said 86 pick, right?
Yes.
So
186 pick in the 14th round.
Well, that's a 6th rounder today.
Yes.
Yep.
That could be a 6th. Yes. There's our music. We're going to take a quick time out here on the Saturday morning sports page. We're going to come back and do more football and get to the college and more into the NFL. Western Reserve Radio.
Hey, football fans, don't miss the hard-hitting action of Youngstown Phantoms hockey at the Cavelli Center in downtown Youngstown. The Phantoms are preparing for the upcoming season as they take to the ice to defend their Clark Cup championship. With over a dozen highly touted prospects on this year's roster, the road to the NHL clearly runs through Youngstown. Purchase season tickets, group tickets, and individual game tickets now by calling 330-747-PUCK. That's 330-747-7825, or go to youngstownphantoms.com.
Clark Cup champion! Whether you are a professional football champion or a fantasy football champion, Martusio Chiropractic is the place to recover from all your sports injuries. Proudly serving Trumbull County, Martusio Chiropractic is located at 369 Niles Cortland Road in Warren. Martusio Chiropractic accepts most insurance plans, now accepting new patients and offering some same-day appointments. For more information or to make an appointment, call Martusio Chiropractic at 330-856-9595.
Jesse's Dairy Cove is a hometown favorite, located at 3743 State Route 46, across from the gazebo in Mineral Ridge. Enjoy all of your favorite ice cream. We have over 32 hard scoop and over 40 soft serve favorites. We also have a large food menu, including homemade chili sauce, sloppy joes, pulled pork, fresh cut French fries, and mac and cheese. This fall, we'll start our homemade cookie and party trays. Visit our website at jessesdairycove.com to see our menu. At Jesse's Dairy Cove, we appreciate your business.
Meet Josh.
Hi, everybody.
Josh is a high school basketball player, solid shooter, great teammate.
Hey, don't forget my Tenacious D.
And he's my son.
Oh.
So, what does Josh do to be the best basketball player he can be?
I play tennis.
Studies show that student athletes here in Ohio who play more than one high school sport are more likely to excel. Tennis does more than improve Josh's conditioning. It gives him a fresh competitive outlet, reduces the risk of injury by cross-training, and introduces him to different coaching techniques and new friends.
Don't get me wrong, hoops are my first love. Tennis just gives me a little break.
So when the new season begins, Josh isn't burned out on basketball. He's eager to play, and you can see the difference in his game.
This message presented by the Ohio High School Athletic Association and the Ohio Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
Saturday morning sports page coming back at you. Second quarter of the show. 330-707-4202. With Dave Clark with me talking NFL football, little college football. We started off with baseball, which is obviously going a little bit off of our normal range, sort of to speak, home on the range, but we wandered off the range a little bit, talked baseball. I did want to we talked about the teams the four best teams with I guess I could say the four teams with the best records. Maybe they're not the best teams since they're no longer playing in baseball, but at least looking at if those people out there interested in watching baseball and not football, but the series start tomorrow night, Sunday night, Texas at Houston. I think it'll be a very interesting series. That's at 8:15, and that's going to be on Fox. Now, that's going up against the Sunday night game, the Giants at the Buffalo Bills, and right now that's and we like to talk about the lumber. We know laying the lumber, sort of to speak, on the point spread. You better go get a semi-truck day for that lumber, because that point spread, I believe, was up to 15 points. Buffalo laying 15 points to the New York Giants on Sunday night. Right. I'm sure that's a game that the NFL, if they could have, they would have flexed out of.
Absolutely.
But they're stuck with that game, and unfortunately, the Giants, and they might be the worst team one of the worst teams in the NFL. We'll get to we want to get to the Thursday night game. Talk a little bit about the Denver Broncos, and then the Kansas City Chiefs. I think toyed with them the whole game. I don't know. It's just like they were just they wanted to they didn't want to blow them out for some reason. I don't know if Andy Reid didn't want to embarrass the Broncos on national TV or prime TV. So we'll talk a little bit about that, but I digress. Just getting back to the baseball real quick. Texas, Houston, Sunday night, 8:15. I think some people may be watching that game more than normal, because I think the Giants and the Bills on the NBC is going to be kind of a blowout. That game is on Fox, so I think a lot of folks may be tuning into that game after the Giants are probably going to be blown away. Last famous words, the Giants might make a game of that. Seriously doubt it, but you never know. The other series, though, was a big series, Arizona at Philadelphia. Dave Clark's Philadelphia is kind of your old stomping grounds, as far as you went to college there, right, and have a lot of folks there. And I don't know if you're really a Philly fan or just kind of like, say, they were obviously when you going to school was the team that you could have rooted for when you were going to school in Philly.
Yeah, and I do. That was the team I even liked before I ever was in Philly. It's just they couldn't overtake my Dallas Cowboys at that time.
Right.
I loved the Cowboys from the 60s when I used to call them the Dallas All-Stars because they had stars on the helmet. And my brothers used to try to tell me that's the Cowboys, and I would get mad and start crying. I said they're the All-Stars. So, way back then. So I grew up with that team, but Jerry Jones has actually just ruined it for me. And I've never liked the Cowboys from the day he got rid of Jimmy Johnson.
Yeah.
I was done with him then, and I more so gravitated to the Eagles, and my AFC team has always been the Raiders. So it's just been great to see what they're doing, but they're not playing to the capabilities that they can. They're still not there, but they're able to win games, and that's the most important thing right now. But and I know as season go, they can improve. So and they got the players there to do that. So it's,
you mean
as far as
the Raiders?
No, the Philly. As far as
the
Philly.
Phillies, yeah.
They still can do what they need to do, but they the thing about it is early in teams, you like to see teams just doing what they're doing, like you see San Fran. But the key is, can you keep that up for 17, 18 weeks and go into the playoffs? Because a lot of times the teams that get to the Super Bowl or may win it is the teams that get hot later in the season, in that November to December, and they start playing some football. And those are some teams that's hard to beat when they get on the road during that time.
Yeah, definitely. Back to your Philadelphia Phillies. They've been a very interesting team because they had the wild card kind of put in the bag, sort of. So they clinched that. They were in control of the wild card position in the National League for quite a while. This is the second year in a row they beat Atlanta. Atlanta was the best team in baseball. Everybody said how great the Atlanta Braves were. And then they can't win a game in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
And Philadelphia is a great baseball city. It's a great sports town, I believe it is. And that I did watch the Philadelphia game when they beat Atlanta to clinch it. And that place is just, that stadium is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
The fans are they're Philly fans, and they're intense, and they get cranked up. And it is a tough, and that will Arizona is the surprise team because they get no respect at all. They don't even have a fan base there. It's kind of like the fans there don't really get into baseball. In fact, there's a Dodger fan that says when he would go to turn on the Arizona game playing the Dodgers, there were more Dodger fans in Arizona than Arizona fans.
Right.
Where Philadelphia, obviously, that's not the case because those fans sell the season, or those games in Philadelphia sell out, and the fans, you're not seeing a lot of fans from the opposing city in those stands in Philadelphia.
Yeah, that's something. And I guess that's just how it is. You be in a city that's passionate for their sports, and you're there long enough, you gravitate to them teams. When I was in junior college, I was in the San Diego area, in the Oceanside, California. San Diego Padres was, being back in Ohio, you see them on TV, but you didn't think much of them. But stay in that town. The Chargers at that time and the Padres, they go nuts. They're absolutely insane. And it's the same thing in Philly. The Phillies and the Eagles and the 76ers, all of them, they're crazy about their pro teams there. And you like to see that. Where we're at in Ohio, we have that mixed bag of Browns and Steelers fans that's mainly here. And you can't get the same feel that you do when you're right in the city of those teams. It's unbelievable when you stay right in the city. And you should know, just when you stayed in New York as myself, that that stuff is insane to be staying in those cities and see how they are.
Yeah, definitely. It kind of takes over.
Oh, yes.
And, the Philadelphia Phillies will start Monday night at 8 o'clock or 8:07, hosting Arizona. So
that should be good.
This is best of 7. Should be a great series, and it's on TBS at 8 o'clock, 8:07. So the Monday night game is going to be, I think, a very interesting game. Though I think it's Cowboys are at the San Diego. We still call them the San Diego Chargers.
They'll never be the LA Chargers.
They're never going to be the LA Chargers. They're the LA. We still call them the San Diego Chargers.
We just be respectful by saying it, but we still say San Diego.
We still do it. I mean, we can get into the NFL. I mean, why they have 2 teams in LA. They went from 0 teams to 2 teams. Yeah. And the fans, the thing is, the people in LA don't care about NFL football. They just don't.
No.
The passion isn't there. That's why when you turn on the Rams or the Chargers when they're playing, why you can hear the opposing team crowd in there to the point where even the Raiders have issues getting Raider fans to Las Vegas. But if you turn on and Las Vegas is playing either Pittsburgh or Philly, they have to go to a silent count because the opposing fan noise is so loud in their own stadium.
Well, the thing about it, the Raiders should have been,
in
always,
LA.
Yeah, and that's where Al always wanted them. He wanted them when he left Oakland. He wanted them to be in LA and stay there, and because they are big in LA. That's the only real football team. They still love them there, and they haven't been there for years.
Right,
they still love them in LA.
Right, that's what the NFL. What the NFL should have done is they should have moved the Raiders to LA.
Mm-hmm.
Where they belong, and put them in SoFi and call them the LA Raiders, which again, then you would have a crowd. Then you would have a true home field crowd.
Yep.
Because the Raiders is really still the LA team. And then they could have either left the Rams in St. Louis or put them in Vegas and left. They should have never left. They should have never let the Chargers leave.
Yeah.
They should have figured out a way to keep them down there.
Yeah. Some way to keep you keep Chargers in San Diego.
Right.
If you're going to move the Raiders, you move them to LA or you leave them in Oakland some kind of way. That's where they belong. One of those 2 places.
Right.
And not in Vegas.
No.
And I don't know what you do. No, I think you do leave the Rams in St. Louis. They had a great following.
Better off leaving them in St. Louis.
They had a great following in St. Louis.
Right. They were fine. They had a good loyal fan base. The crowd was intense.
Mm-hmm.
It's still a good sports town, and they should have left the Rams in St. Louis. If they wanted to get the Raiders out of Oakland for whatever reason, since it seemed that NFL wanted a team in LA,
right?
Then that's the team they should have put in LA. Should have been the Raiders because they'd been there before. They won a Super Bowl as the LA Raiders.
Yep.
The fans down there love the Raiders.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, you go to LA, you probably see more people wearing LA Raider gear in Los Angeles than they're wearing either the Ram gear or definitely the Charger gear.
Right. And I tell you, and I watched the Raiders in their last game. They really did well. But the thing about it, I see they got the players that do what they need to do. But I don't know, it's just something with our guy, Josh McDaniels. It's just, I don't know. It's just,
they're annoying. That's an annoying team
I don't really think they are crazy about Josh McDaniels. Now, no player's going to come out and talk that, but I don't think so. I looked at how Versace, after that game was over, now that he's on the Green Bay staff, he comes over and those guys are all hugging and going crazy to see Versace, who I thought should have been the head coach. He should have inherited that job. He did a great job in getting those guys to the playoff, and they played hard for him. They liked him. And that's what they should have did right then instead of going to Josh McDaniels.
Yeah, you're 100%. I can't agree with you more. They should have left him in there as the coach.
Yep.
They played hard. He got him in the playoffs.
They played like Raiders back then. They played, that's the kind of ball they played. Like okay, now we got a team that's gonna play like the Raiders used to play, hard and going to get up in your face. And you'll see spurts of that because the guys do it on their own now. And that's the way they was in this last game. But, it's just the consistency is not there to be that type of team. That's why they can be frustrating, because you can see that they could win. But because of his game planning, it's just up and down. It's week to week. You don't know what you're going to get.
Well, the Raiders are 2-3. They won they won a Monday night game. I tried to watch the Monday night game. It was just a tough game to watch, but the Raiders won it. Jordan Love is still a work in progress. I know there's a lot of folks out there that are like saying, well, he should be a lot better than he is. He's been there for 3 years, yada, yada, yada.
The offensive line needs to be better.
The offensive line's got injuries. I think Jordan Love, I still believe that he can develop into a pretty good quarterback.
Yep.
Got to have a little patience. Rodgers, people keep forgetting when Rodgers started, and he was about Jordan Love.
Right.
So, I think I'm not saying Jordan Love's going to be Aaron Rodgers, but I'm just saying you've got to give him a chance to develop, to see what you have, and I think he'll ultimately get there. But you're right, the offensive line needs improvement. They're again, the Packers are playing about average at best. I don't know if they'll get in the playoffs or not in the NFC.
It's hard to say. They're in the right division, so they got a chance.
They have a chance. Detroit, I think, is going to emerge as the class of that division.
Oh, yeah, well, they are already, as far as I'm concerned.
Right now. Yeah, the Lions, I think, right now, if you start looking at divisions and how these divisions are starting to unfold now that we're basically coming up on week 6 of the NFL, you see the team, they're not quite a third. They're not quite a third of the season underway, almost there. But you could see Detroit is emerging as the top of that division. And speaking of, I know we talked to Little Raiders, open up a door. Raiders are playing the Patriots. And now the Patriots, I believe, have been outscored 72-3 in their last 2 games. Man. They were beaten 34-0 by the Saints last week and 38-3 by Dallas the previous week.
Yep.
I don't know. I know there is obviously talk radio is getting crazy because now they're saying, do the Patriots consider at the end of the year, if this continues to go south for the Patriots, which after you've seen them play, I don't really know. They're not a good football team.
No.
At all. And I'm wondering, how many more games are they going to win this year? And what does Bob Kraft do with Belichick?
Yeah. I mean, it might, the talent level is not as great there as it definitely is in the past. And it's not up to par with some of the other teams. But Belichick would always had a way of getting the team going. But, we have to admit now, at least I am, that was it all Belichick or mostly Belichick, or was it TB12? And I have to give it to TB12 because they had some talent level deficiencies when he was there. But just with him being at quarterback, they were able to get in the playoffs. May not been a big time factor or strong, but they always had a chance. And right now they don't have no chance. But saying that, I'm telling you, everybody's talking about Josh McDaniels, everything that Belichick does. Well, Belichick knows everything that Josh McDaniels would like to do too. And after getting destroyed for 2 weeks, this could be, as they say, I won't call it upset, but this could be the week that doesn't fare well for the Raiders and New England starts to get something going. I hate to say that and put it on my guys, but that's the kind of thing that could happen.
Well, right now, when you look at coaching records, obviously Belichick, the word is for obvious reasons, Belichick wants to catch Don Shula.
Right.
Don Shula's career coaching record, which includes the preseason, Shula is 347, has 347 wins. Belichick's career record, he's got 330 wins. So right now he's 17 wins behind Don Shula. So obviously, doing the quick math, 17, he's got to win 17 more games. Obviously, he's not getting into the playoffs this year. Right. Doubtful. I mean, doubtful. I guess really you never know, but right now from your eye test is telling you he's not going to get into the playoffs. The only question is going to be how many games will Belichick win this year and how much closer does he get to Shula's record? They're 17 games apart, but your question is going to ultimately come down to, can Belichick basically catch Don Shula, or will, as a New England Patriot head coach, or will he basically be coaching for another team? Because if the Patriots are now the way they are struggling through this season, a lot of folks who are 1-4, again, they lost 34-0 last week to the Raiders. How many games will he win this year? He's only won one game so far. Will Kraft have the patience to see if Belichick could catch the record, or will the teams be incredibly so bad he's going to part ways? I don't think the media will it won't come out as he fired Bill Belichick. You'll see they parted ways.
Yeah, it'll be something like that. Because
right
now, if he stayed there and was able to stay there, I don't see him catching Shula until like 3 seasons, because they may only win a couple more games this year. Next year, I mean, you try to improve that roster. Let's say you get 8 or 9 wins. That's still not enough. Now you got to go into a third season before you even get that record. So will they keep him? I don't know. I don't know how patient Kraft is going to be, but it's going to be tough sledding to get this team going, because Mac Jones, he might have to be a backup until he's ready to be a starter. I really think they got to get a veteran in there and allow him to learn some more. Can he be a starter? I think he can, but I just don't think he's ready for that week in and week out. Not yet.
Well, there's talk. The rumor mill obviously is Kirk Cousins. There's some football analysts believe that Kirk Cousins is going to be available.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna tell you, one team that should get Kirk Cousins, and this is not to rip our guy Wilson at the Jets, but you get him and let him learn. You don't waste that defensive talent and the rest of that core. You got a great receiver, you got a great running back. Now that offensive line is something that needs to be desired, but you got to get another quarterback to give you at least a chance this year to get into that postseason. I just don't know. Wilson has performed a lot better than he has previously, but I don't know if it's enough to get you in the playoffs. I don't know if he's performing at a high enough level yet. He may improve, so we have to see, but that's the concerning part, because guys get frustrated. And once they get frustrated, now you have guys that might want to leave, and you lose a lot of that core of a great defense that they have. They got great personnel when it comes there.
And I think the one drawback, or at least some of the roadblocks that could prevent him from getting to the Jets, is because Cousins has a no trade clause.
Yeah.
I mean, if he goes to the Jets, it would only be for the balance of this year.
Yeah, that's it.
Because you got Rodgers.
Right. Yeah. And that's all you do. He'd be a rental.
He would be a rental.
Yeah.
And whether or not does Kirk Cousins want to be a rental for the Jets for the remainder of this year. And, that's the part where some people don't believe he'll want to do that. And he has the power to do that, since he has a no trade clause in his contract.
It makes you wonder, though. I mean, yeah, I would kind of, if I want to get a long-term deal in there. But if I see that I can get somewhere after the season, something worked out that, hey, I can go somewhere else after the season and negotiate. I mean, wouldn't I want to get to a team that has a chance to get to the dance? Just get in it, So, I would want to get there, and Minnesota's just having so many little issues. A lot of talent, though, but, man, there's a lot of different issues that I don't think the defense plays up to their capabilities all the time. They got great players there, but I just don't know. Something is not exactly right in Minnesota. So, he has to be somewhere that's the rest of the foundation of the team is very solid. Like if Kirk Cousins was in San Fran, he'd be great. He'd be a fantastic quarterback to have because the foundation of everything around him is perfect. And that's where he needs to get somewhere like that. And I think he can have some success.
Yeah, we'll see, because it's going to be. I think the thing with Kirk Cousins, I know that name is coming up. The Vikings sit at 1-4 right now. They have the Bears this week. And this will be a very interesting game this year for the Minnesota Vikings, because they have the Chicago Bears. The Chicago Bears came off that big win against the Commanders on. The Commanders, they beat the Commanders on Thursday night. And bottom line is, I think it's going to get interesting. Can the Bears kind of get resurrected? They should have beat the Broncos. They did not, but they showed you they came back from their kind of doldrums, almost beat the Broncos, surprised everybody. Not you, Dave Clark, because you picked them Thursday night. Obviously surprised me, but they came back on that big Thursday night to win that game on the road versus the Commanders 40-20. Now they take on the Vikings, who lost last week, a tough game, 27-20 to the Chiefs. And it would not to get, we're coming up on halftime. And we're good. But again, I hate to keep beating up the referees, but it seems like the Kansas City Chiefs do get all the calls. The one on against the Vikings, the guy took his helmet off. There should have been a 15-yard penalty. Referee, you could hear the referee say, "Put your helmet on." So, but instead of throwing the flag, he instructs the player to put the helmet on. It's like, well, wait a minute. That's normally a 15-yard penalty. You don't have an option.
Yeah.
But in that particular case, the referee gave that Kansas City Chief player the option. Yeah. So you get again into this inconsistency with referees, but that has an impact in games.
Yeah, and that's what starts fans to dislike teams. Like all of a sudden you hear I hate Kansas City. I don't want to hear anything else about them. Right. Because now they get the calls. New England used to be like that. Every single call.
Right.
They get them all when Brady was there. So it's it just travels around. But Kansas City do get a lot of things. And usually you don't see nothing like that where somebody tells you to put your helmet on so you don't get a penalty.
Yeah. I mean, you don't see that. So that's our music. We're at halftime of the show. We're going to come back and talk more, get the NFL picks and the college picks. Saturday morning sports page back after a timeout.
You're listening to WRDB, Western Reserve Digital Broadcasting, Youngstown, Warren, Salem, and around the world.
Sandrock Concrete specializes in all types of concrete, driveways, sidewalks, basements, and garages. We also do stamped colored concrete in many different designs. We do interior and exterior stonework, regular brick and block work. Sandrock Concrete is fully insured. Call Jerry Sandrock at 330-506-0013 for an estimate. Also find them on Facebook at Sandrock Concrete LLC. Sandrock Concrete, where you deal with the owner all the time.
SNK, painting your house today. SNK, painting
S&K Painting provides exceptional painting and refinishing services to the Mahoning Valley and surrounding communities by being an industry leader in our field, focusing on customer service and delivering extraordinary results. We offer interior and exterior painting, and we specialize in cabinet refinishing with affordable cabinet solution. Call S&K Painting for your free estimate at 330-505-1910. S&K Painting your house today.
If you are seeking a skilled photographer in Northeast Ohio with experience in capturing documentary-style photographs for various occasions such as family events, weddings, graduations, sporting events, and other special occasions, look no further than Colleen Moore Photography. Accessible via ColleenMoorePhotography.com, or she can be reached at 330-314-7547.
During the fall and winter, grilling season never ends, and Gessler Propane is your local supplier that makes sure you get your hard-earned money's worth. Why go to gas exchanges to pay higher prices for tanks not filled to capacity? Gessler Propane makes sure you're prepared for year-round grilling with 100% filled tanks at a reasonable cost. See Bob Monday through Friday, 10 to 4, and Saturday, 9 to 3 at Gessler Propane, 702 Youngstown Poland Road, Struthers, or call 330-755-9119. Gessler Propane. They got gas.
Saturday morning sports page coming right back at you. Pat Lucia, Dave Clark, 330-707-4202. Get in and talk sports. We do it every Saturday morning here from the Gessler Propane Studios in Struthers, Ohio. A program note, we will do the Western Reserve Radio will carry the Grove City football game today at 4 o'clock. So you want to tune in, little football radio, you can listen to that game here on Western Reserve Radio. We do our broadcasting out of Struthers, Ohio at the Gessler Propane Studios, 330-707-4202. Get in and talk sports. Dave Clark, as we motor into the second half of the show, let's get going and let's get talk about, I believe we got Irish Mike on the line. Let's bring him in and let's get to college football. Irish Mike is almost kind of our college football expert, Dave Clark.
Yeah.
Well,
morning,
yeah,
Pat.
just for the record, Irish Mike, you did well last week. You were 7-3. I was 5-5. Dave Clark was 3-7. However, just for the record, Dave Clark, you were very good on NFL football, and you are leading NFL football. You were 8-6 last week in NFL football, and that makes you 42-30-3. And I was a great 4-10 on NFL football. So I was the George Costanza of NFL football last week, and I'm 37-35, slightly above the 500. So,
hey, don't feel bad. I'm terrible in college.
Right.
Unpredictable college football.
You're doing great in NFL. I'm actually doing a lot better in college. I have no idea why. I have absolutely no idea why I'm doing that good in college football. Maybe because
Hey, Pat, Dave.
Yes.
I don't know what the problem. I don't know. I just can't do NFL. Irish Mike, you've been pretty good at college football. So you were 7-3 last week. You're Notre Dame Fighting Irish. You did pick Louisville. Dave and I went with Notre Dame. We were very surprised with Louisville's physicality. I was
Notre
shocked
Dame's running out of gas, Pat. I think that's the issue.
What happened? Notre Dame just because they've had tough. That's a brutal schedule that they have, and they had a bad. physical game. Ohio State. They turn around. They played Duke. It was a physical game. They did pull it out. Was it just they just kind of had nothing left in the tank?
Yeah, I'm very surprised they lost the game along the line of scrimmage, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
You can see Louisville making some plays with their skill guys, but it's just like it almost looked like they didn't want to be there, to be honest with you. Like I don't have any. I'll give you guys another one before you make your USC Notre Dame pick. This past week was exam week, midterm exam week on the Notre Dame campus. So that's always been a bugaboo since I've been a Notre Dame fan for 40 plus years, dating back to the 70s, how players played that well that week. So just bear that in mind.
Yeah. I don't know if that's going to make them play. Well, they're playing at
I think that, they have to adjust practices. They have to do things around their practice schedule, et cetera, et cetera. And, obviously it's the first time in 28 years they played 4 straight weeks in a row, primetime games against top 15 teams or undefeated at the time they play them. So, I mean, obviously last month
they've been playing a tough, it's no doubt a grind of a schedule.
Yep.
The question's going to be, can they knock out USC from the college playoff? I don't know if USC is going to, if USC beats Notre Dame, which I don't know if they will. I'm kind of leaning on Notre Dame. I think they'll snap back. But I think what's going to happen with USC is I think the Pac-12 is really a good conference, and I just don't think they're going to be able to go unscathed going through the Pac-12.
And also, obviously, we're Midwest guys. It's very interesting weather in the Midwest this weekend, correct?
Yes, they were saying, supposedly, I heard this yesterday, Mike Lombardi was talking about it on Mad Dog Russo. They were talking about the Cleveland game. There's going to be like winds are going to be like, gusting at 30, 40 miles an hour?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's insane.
Obviously, it's been raining on and off all day today in the Midwest.
Yeah.
Kind of
So they're going to have rain and wind.
Kind of a colder rain.
And there's no Deshaun Watson again this week for the Cleveland Browns, and P.J. Walker will make his first start as a Cleveland Brown.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously acquired him, and he will start, and we'll see. And the 49ers, a lot of people are expecting the 49ers to come down a little bit, and it could be the ultimate trap game for the 49ers having to travel east for a 1 o'clock start. So we're going to have to wait and see how that one plays out. But as you say, there's interesting. What is the weather then going to be out at Notre Dame? Is it going to be rainy and kind of?
I mean, I know in Southbound right now it's very similar there. It's here right now, but they're saying winds of more like 15 to 20 miles per hour. Earlier in this week they were saying 30 to 40. Now they're saying 15 to 20 mile per hour winds. But I saw it was Monday or Tuesday at practice out in Los Angeles. They had the USC punt returners catching the ball while somebody's shooting a spray gun of water on them. It simulated a wet ball, how to catch a wet ball during, bad weather.
It sounds like waterboarding. It's almost like torture.
Yeah, it's going to be something.
Hey, how'd you guys? Has Deion Sanders gone to bed yet? Do you think?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, he's good. I would be.
Did you hear what he was saying a couple days ago? He was so funny. He was talking about the late starts.
Oh yeah.
And he's been early start, late start, and he said something to. I'm paraphrasing, but he goes, "These late start games." He goes, "What do you want me to do with the players all day?"
Yeah.
Like these guys are all revved up and ready to play, and it's 11 o'clock in the morning, and they got another 8-9 hours. He goes, "What am I going to do with these guys?"
Yeah, that's rough.
It is
rough.
He's
right.
It's
rough on the West. Yeah, it is. It's rough for us to stay up and watch it.
Right. I mean, he's got, he brings up a good point. I mean, it's like, yeah, these kids, I got these 19, 20-year-old kids running around. It's 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock at noon. I could see they want to play. They're getting worked up, and they got another 8-9 hours to wait.
That's crazy.
He's funny. I think he was like, because he was just like you could see he was like venting, and it was like he was going on, and the guy that was just taking it in, and Deion was just going off. It was like so funny, but so true.
Yeah. Well, we done talked about it, and people want to see him fail anyway. But we looked at the things that the one show that you told me about when the interview. Pat, and he said, "Hey, we I know I got the skilled players that compete, but he knew he did not have the guys he need on the line, offensively and defensively, and it was going to be a struggle. And people seem like they put that aside, those comments, and just look at, he was winning, so what he's got to say now that he's losing. Well, who expected him to win 10 games, 11 games after the team that was getting destroyed the last few years? And, you bring a lot of players together. It's not going to be all, it was great to see him start off like that, all the excitement. I think that had a lot to do with it, get him going. But, it was going to be a reality check somewhere in there. I felt that. And that, just see how they can get through that and bounce back from those type of things and see where they're at.
Well, I've just pulled up their schedule date because I was curious because you mentioned wins and losses. Obviously, they're 4-3 right now, and I think all of us said, back in the pregame when we did our pre-show back in August, if they went 6-6, that would be a really good year.
Yeah, that's right.
Now they have Colorado has a bye week next week, so they don't play. Their next game is the 28th at UCLA, which will probably be underdogs out in the Rose Bowl.
Right.
And they have their back-to-back home games against Oregon State, who's ranked 15th in the country, and then Arizona at home. And then they finish the year in at Washington State, then at Utah, back-to-back road games. So I think we're pretty close. Can be pretty close, guys. And saying 6-6, to be honest with you.
Yes,
I think we hit it head on.
Yeah, they may get to that 6-6, and we'll be right with what we said.
Yeah, right. With what we all thought.
Yeah.
Well, and that's when you think of the conference he's in, and this is an up year for the Pac-12.
Right. I mean, all the way around.
Exceptional, all the way around. I would make an argument if you take the Pac-12 top to bottom, they are the best conference top to bottom in college.
Yeah,
I really do. I make an argument that with the quarterback play out there, the way those teams are playing, I like the Pac-12 top to bottom is the best conference, and then you can make your argument maybe. But I think the SEC is really kind of, there's no great team there. Maybe Georgia woke up last week and crushed Kentucky. They finally played like we thought Georgia would play.
Yeah, they destroyed them.
Right. So I mean, I still like the Pac-12 top to bottom.
Yeah, they got a lot of teams.
They got
a lot of teams in there. And then the thing about it, like you mentioned, Arizona, that's your middle of the pack team. And that's the thing about that. They can compete with these big time teams. They will compete with them. They'll give them problems. So this year has been really good for the Pac-12. And just think it's going out.
Yeah, it's going out.
It'll be the Pac-2.
It'll be the Pac-2, I guess. Or maybe the Big Ten will decide, if Oregon State, Washington State keep playing, why don't they just put them in the Big Ten?
I mean, don't you think, Irish Mike, those two schools being in a conference somewhere will be good for any conference? They are very good football teams.
I agree, yeah. No doubt about that.
Yeah.
They're going to find a home.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I'd like to see him. I would like to see him in 12
take him.
Oh, that's possible. Big 12 may.
Yeah, I think if they continue to play as well as they do, I think ultimately some conference is gonna like you said, they're gonna play themselves up in another, one of the remaining Power 4 conferences will pick them up.
Right.
I don't doubt it at all. Hey, let's go ahead and get to the picks. We have I did put this pick on. I was kind of not going to put it on, but I decided to. It's gone down a little bit. It was at 17, and it's now 17.5. Ohio State at Purdue. And the Purdue Boilermakers are getting 17.5 at home. Buckeyes did cover last week, barely, but they did cover. Purdue 2-4. Not maybe a great team, but that I have a tendency to throw that out because Purdue can kind of give Ohio State problems, especially out at Ross-Ade Stadium.
And look at the weather today and the rain and on grass.
Yep.
And Ohio State plays at home next week against Penn State. So are they looking ahead?
Is this the trap game?
Yeah, they do have problems with it, and I don't know why. It goes all the way back. I still remember them playing. I mean, way back, and
Mark
playing.
Herman.
Yeah.
Yes, Mark Herman.
Yes, and having a big and that, I mean, Ohio State was favored big time. And what happened? It's just I don't know. There's something about that.
Yeah,
it doesn't make sense when you look at it. But for some reason, as we said in the NFL, certain teams like we see Arizona, how they destroyed. Who did they play? We was talking about. The Cardinals beat someone. We was talking about that.
Rondell Moore 5 years ago.
The Cowboys.
Last loss with high teams at
Cowboys.
Purdue. Remember Rondell Moore
Yep.
lit him up that night, Pepper 4 touchdowns.
And then when Drew was playing, remember that?
Right.
It's just it's unbelievable. I don't know why, but in Purdue, it always happens up there in Lafayette. So can I take 17.5 and just go with the tradition? I guess I will.
Irish Mike, Dave is going with Purdue.
I just should be the trendsetter. I'll just go with Ohio State because Purdue is down this year.
They are.
They're not nearly as good as they were 3, 4, but they don't have a Rondell Moore running around there to be able to make plays this year for them. So, and first year head coach, and they haven't been very good. I think they lost to Mac School at home a month ago. So I'll go with Ohio State today to cover.
Yeah, it's on the Peacock, so I won't be. Well, I don't get Peacock, so I won't be watching that.
Well,
game.
you know what? It don't. Most of the times when they got upset, when they're on ABC, it's usually something like that. The Big Time Network, blah blah. Maybe that with them behind the radar a little bit, you don't get to see it. Everybody don't see it. Maybe it is a good time to go Ohio State. Maybe so. Irish Mike, you might make me think about putting that in there.
I'll take
You're right,
Ohio
Dave.
State. Too.
Yeah, I'm gonna switch it. I'm gonna go Ohio State.
You're gonna go okay.
Yeah, because I was thinking straight on ABC, and it just seems like some reason every time they play them at Lafayette, and it's on big time TV. Usually it's on TV like that. They lose, or it's a very down to the wire game, and but this time, maybe under the radar, they should blow them out.
Let's move on to the next game. California at Utah. This was at 13.5. Now it's down to -10. Cal gets -10 points on the road in Utah. So Utah laying 10 points to Cal, visiting California Golden Bears.
Cal's a troublesome team also. They can give you
They
problems
are.
too.
They're like a bad, they're kind of like just a bad penny. They're just kind of there, and they kind of create problems for a lot of teams. And they're not supposed to be very good this year. Everybody was saying Cal was down and they weren't going to be really competitive. But again, I think a lot of, they got beat by but they beat Arizona State.
Mm-hmm.
And they lost last week to Oregon 52-40. They lost to Oregon State 52-40 last week.
To Oregon.
So Oregon State.
Oregon. Okay, yeah. Oregon State.
They lost to Oregon State 52-40 the week before they beat Arizona State. Yeah. So that's going to be, like I say, Utah. I believe the quarterback's still not playing.
Yeah, he's still not playing. And it's up in Utah, though?
It is up at Utah.
I'm gonna go with the Utes.
Okay.
Just because it's there.
I'm going to go with Utah too, Pat, because they lost 2 weeks ago in Corvallis, Oregon, against Oregon State, and they've had 2 weeks. I'm just surprised the quarterback's not ready. He was supposed to be ready at the beginning of the year, and the beginning of the year was 6 weeks ago. So that injury is a little bit more. I mean, I'm skeptical about that injury now that you say he's not ready.
They did announce
the Rising kid back. When you said he's not back, I'm like, they had a bye week last week. Come on.
They announced it last week. They actually gave the diagnosis of that. Remember, we just thought it was an ACL.
Yeah.
But he had other ligament. He had the MCL that was completely torn, it said, and then he had other nerve damage in the knee, and that was not reported at the beginning.
That sounds worse.
I think he's going to play this year all day. Clark,
that's what I was thinking. You at the 6th week, it's almost like seeing if you can get a medical red shirt.
I'll still go with Utah at home, Pat.
That's the only reason.
Had the bye week. Utah's coming off a bye week.
Yep.
So they lost to Oregon was their last game, but that was September 29th. That was the Friday night game. Yeah, I'll bite on Utah too. They're coming off the bye week, and I think they'll cover the 10 points. Let's go. This is a big game. Both teams coming off byes. Oregon at Washington. This might be the game of this and the Notre Dame USC games, I think, are the two highlight games of the weekend. I know some people don't think the USC Notre Dame game is that big. I do. I think anytime you have those, and they're playing it obviously in South Bend.
Yeah,
so
it's always big to me when those two play.
yeah, when those two play, a history though.
And the game day's up in Seattle today. Game day's in Seattle this morning, so it's still dark out in Seattle, Washington right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I'm watching it right now.
And Michael Penix Jr., I didn't know this guy's. According to Caesar Sportsbook, Michael Penix Jr. is the odd-on favorite right now today to win the Heisman Trophy, a little bit ahead of Caleb Williams from USC, the quarterback.
Yeah, and a lot to do with it is with his team winning the way they have been.
And that's going to be it. Yep.
You know, and that can make him, go past. But I'm if it's me, I'm still taking. If I had to pick between the two, I'm taking Caleb Williams. It's something about it.
Right now, it'll be. I think it's still Caleb's to lose, but it's funny because he won it last year, and it seems
both of them have got
that,
opportunity, like Kirk Perkins said earlier in game day, that you have these big games, these marquee games where everybody's watching games. That both Penix and Williams have opportunities today to separate themselves from the bats in a big game and with a lot of eyeballs watching. So I'm going to go with Washington at home up in Seattle.
-3 points. You're going to give Oregon -3.
Yes. I'll take Washington.
You'll take Washington and lay the 3 points.
Yeah, I'm going with Washington.
Yeah. I hate to keep going, chalkish, but in going along, but I like Washington at home.
Yep.
Close game, playing with the sound there out there in the ocean court, sort of to speak, where they play that. It's a kind of cool.
Too.
Yeah.
They're a physical football team. I like them.
So next one up is my favorite coach, Jimbo Fisher, because he's got the best contract in all of sports, I think. You can't fire him. And I still like his soundbite. It's despicable. Anyway, I do digress. Texas A&M is playing at Tennessee. And actually, this is going to be a good game. It's 3:30 CBS. ABC has got Oregon and Washington, ABC 3:30. This is the CBS game. A&M, Tennessee is giving A&M 3 points. They host Texas A&M.
Wow.
I'm going to surprise Lucia. I'm going to go with Jimbo Fisher.
My man.
And for the upset win, they win straight up. I'm going to go with the Aggies today.
Yep. They don't look that bad. They really don't. So
they lost a tough game last week to Bama.
Yep. I'm going to take them too.
Yeah. I actually do like A&M. I think he's got a very talented team, and I'll go A&M too. Let's move on to
Clark,
Kansas.
I'll give you a quick preview. August 31st, 2024, Notre Dame's opening game of the 2024 season. They play Texas A&M down in College Station, Texas.
Oh, man. Wow.
Yeah, that's the first game of the year, August 31st.
Okay.
And that's next year.
Yeah, first game of the year next year.
Wow.
College Station,
Jimbo.
Texas. Yeah.
I'm sure Jimbo will still be the coach.
That's a great question, Lucia. This 2023 season, I'll tell you, he better finish strong. I agree with you. He better finish strong.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think they're going to. I still think he's making. I don't know. They have a lot of boosters with money. They'd have to pay a lot of money to buy him out. You never know, though.
And obviously, a guy like Urban Meyer's still sitting out there.
I know Urban Meyer's name.
That would be an interesting fit for him because they would pay him $15 million a year. You know that, and I know that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if Michigan State doesn't get him, that's the other rumor.
Yeah, I would see him going to Texas A&M before Michigan State.
Yeah, I do
they would
too.
Pay him. They would pay him $16 million a year. They would.
Oh, I believe that. I do. Texas. I believe he would. If that job became open, I do. I think if money is no object down there.
No,
Texas A&M.
Zero. Too much oil money.
Exactly, and they don't mind spending it. Let's move to Kansas at Oklahoma State, and actually Oklahoma State is getting 3 points hosting Kansas, so we have a home dog getting 3 points.
I'll go with Oklahoma State and take the 3.
And take the 3. God, this is a tough game to pick.
I'm going to take Kansas.
Okay. Jeez. I'm almost to the point where I'll take Kansas too. Let's get to Louisville at Pitt. 7.5. This is 7 now. Pitt's getting 7 points at home. So Louisville going on the road to Pittsburgh. Big win coming off that Notre Dame victory. And Pitt's getting 7 points at home, but they're 1-4 the Pittsburgh Panthers.
I'm taking
What's that?
Louisville.
I was going to say, Pat, Dave, you guys can you smell this one a mile away? What's coming today? Right? I mean, come on.
You think it's upset?
You're going day game on the road after your biggest home win in 10 years, right? You had the blackout.
Yeah.
I'm taking the Pitt Panthers today. I can tell you that.
Okay.
Yep.
Dave?
I'm riding Louisville again.
Yeah. I like Louisville. I was surprised by Louisville. I still didn't think they were that physical of a team. And they're 6-0. But you might be all right, Irish Mike. This could be the upset special at 6:30 tonight on CW Network. Let's go to the game we've been kind of talking about. USC at the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. This line ticked up to 3 points. So USC is getting 3 points on the road. Notre Dame laying 3 points. A lot of people are surprised that Notre Dame's actually favored in this game.
I can see it though, because that defense is
USC's defense is not good, and I think Notre Dame will be able with that front line to move the ball on the USC. Now, can they
pass block?
Stop Caleb Williams? That's it.
Can they pass block? That's one thing that USC can do. They can rush the pass.
Yes,
I agree with that.
Yeah.
And the thing of Notre Dame receivers, Dave, is they don't get separation on the outside. That's been a big bugaboo. I texted somebody before the Ohio State game. I said, my number one concern offensively is, can the Notre Dame wide receivers create separation against the Ohio State defensive backs? And I was told not to worry about it. Well, here it's 4 weeks later, and I'm still worrying about it. Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna take USC.
I think USC is going to stack the box, Dave, and Pat, and try to stop the run. They're going to have 8 guys in the box saying, we're going to play man coverage on the outside. We're going to make you throw the ball. I think Hartman's pretty good. Don't get me wrong. I think he's fine. I think our receivers are below average, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I mean, USC though, boy, that defense is like a leaking oil. Boy, they just can't play very good defense. I think Notre Dame can have a good field day with them. I'm gonna go with ND and lay the 3. I was wrong last week, right the previous week, but I like ND. I know I think it would be an upset if ND wins, even though they're the 3-point favorite.
Yeah.
But this USC defense just has been, they've been leaking oil but they've been winning. But, I watched the Arizona State game, most of that, and they won it. But boy, and Colorado almost came back and beat them. So I think Notre Dame will definitely be able to move the ball on this defense and score points.
I shamefully say this. I'll go with USC. Until they prove Notre Dame receivers prove they can get off man coverage and open up the passing game, they're going to be 8 or 9 guys in the box to shut down the running game and make Notre Dame throw the ball 30 times.
Dave Clark, your thoughts?
USC?
Yeah. Do you want USC?
Yep. I got that. I'm going to take USC in the 3.
All right. I'll be the outlier, go with the Fighting Irish. Hold on, Irish Fight. We're almost done with the picks, and when you come back, we'll finish up. We got 2 more games left. Saturday Morning Sports Page. We'll be back after a quick timeout on Western Reserve Radio.
Shining Stars Dance and Baton in Niles, Ohio is home to state, regional, national, and international world champions. They offer a wide variety of classes for ages 2.5 and up for boys and girls. Celebrating over 31 years in business, the excellent staff of instructors will help take your baton twirling skills to the next level.
Accidents
things happen. That's why you need Repair That Glass. Specializing in windshield replacement and all other auto glass, we offer a full range of automotive glass repairs. Our technicians can do everything from minor chip repair to a complete replacement. Your windows don't go up or down, they can fix that too, along with custom glass work and antiques. Repair That Glass is a family-run business for over 40 years. Repair That Glass. Call for your appointment now at 330-534-3192.
Mill Creek Golf Course has been the Valley's leader for golfing fun since 1928. It features 36 challenging holes designed by the legendary Donald Ross and was voted a top 30 municipal facility by Golf Week in 2012. The Mill Creek Golf Shop is a certified Callaway Golf custom fitting center and is stocked with your favorite golf apparel and accessories. Mill Creek Golf Course is now booking tee times for this year's golf season. Please call us at 330-740-7112 or online at millcreekmetroparks.org.
The game is over, but this time, instead of asking how many goals did you score or what were your stats, try asking these questions. Were you a good teammate? Were you coachable? Did you give 100%? And did you have fun? Because those are the values that school sports instill in Ohio's young people, where winning and losing are secondary to the life lessons that will stay with kids long after their playing days are over. This is the Ohio High School Athletic Association. Educate through sports.
Saturday morning sports page, Pat Lucia, Dave Clark. We got Irish Mike on the line here doing our college football picks, doing the best we can with what we have as far as our knowledge of the game. My knowledge is obviously at times, as I will call, despicable, but we'll move on. Let's go to the Miami-Florida game tonight. That's the ABC. They're at North Carolina. Obviously trying to get over the why didn't you just take a knee game.
The cat's on the hot seat for that. Think about that.
Oh, I know.
He did those kids a complete disservice. That was horrible coaching. Horrible.
That's horrible.
Yep.
Horrible.
Yep.
You're 4-1. You should be 5-0.
That's 1,000% coaching.
Brutal.
Yeah. And I felt bad for the
not on the
kid
players.
there.
That's on 100% on the head coach.
Yep.
And he did the same thing in Oregon 5 years ago. So he made an excuse after the game. It's like, and they said, well, what happened when you played Stanford 5 years ago? You did the exact same thing 5 years ago.
Gosh, can you imagine that? Oh my gosh.
All you had to do is kneel. There was no reason to do anything else.
Joe
Pizarzik.
Pizarzik.
No timeouts. Game's over.
Yep.
It's Joe Pizarzik all over again. I'm finished reading a book about the 86 Giants. It's a great book. And they're, it's about how they put the team together and what the guys are now and how they're coping with a lot of physical issues. But a great book. Yeah. And in it, they reference Joe Pizarzik and the fumble to Larry Zonka, giving your Philadelphia Eagles, Dave Clark. Herm Edwards scooped up the fumble and ran it in.
To play, we play to win the game. And that's what he did.
To win the game. Especially when Joe Pizarzik hands it to you.
And don't know you're going to get the handoff.
But you know what? I got news for you. Now I heard this, and we'll get to this game, but I don't blame Joe Pizarzik. I blame Larry Zonka because the call, rumor had it, the call came in and the huddle was the handoff by the offensive coordinator. I think it was McFay. McFay's father was the offensive coordinator, I believe. And supposedly what I had heard or read that the call came in for Pizarzik to hand the ball off to Zonka, and Zonka was like, no, just take a knee. I don't want the ball. So Pizarzik was following orders, and Zonka just ran by him, and that's where this whole mess started. And now that was one story. I guess we'd have to talk to Zonka, and if Pizarzik would ever want to come clean with that story, it's interesting. But it brings us back to the Miami, Florida at North Carolina game. -3 points. It went down a little bit. It was 3 and a hook. Now it's just 3. Miami is getting 3 points. Do they recover? A big ACC battle?
Yes, I think they recover tonight, Pat. I'm going to take the Canes. I think they're going to be angry football team, so I'm going to take the Miami Canes to win tonight on the road.
I'm going to take them
Chapel Hill.
too, but I still say this is the game to prove just where they at, because that was a heartbreaker. That was on coaching.
Yeah. I'm going with North Carolina. I like Carolina. I think of the teams, they're the better of the two teams, and I'm just going to go with that and take it from there. Let's go
Dave,
to the last game.
Dave, Pat,
UCLA.
if Miami loses tonight, like by 2 touchdowns in Chapel Hill, 14, and they don't look good, it could be a long rest of the season for Mario Cristobal and the Miami Hurricanes.
Yep.
Right. It could be that's the last 6 weeks. It feel like 6 months.
Right.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. And that loss is going to haunt them, especially if they do win out and they end up with that one loss at the end of the season. That's going to be a bitter pill.
Pat, I could see them losing 4 or 5 games. I can see them, losing 2 or 3 more games after today. If they lose today, bad, by 14 points or more, where they don't look good.
Yeah, where they don't look good, right?
Yeah, I'm just not buying Miami, Florida being that good of a team. I think they're good, but they're not really. I like North Carolina. I think they're one of the better teams. I think Louisville is the sleeper in that conference, and it'll be interesting. Maybe Louisville might win it outright. Could Louisville get into the Final Four if they win out? I don't know. This is good. Could be a very interesting year. Let's finish out with
thing, Pat, real quick. Is these guys leave the Oregon job. The guy 6 years ago left Oregon to go to Florida State. He was there 2 years and got fired at Florida State. Now Cristobal leaves Oregon to go to Miami, and now he's on the hot seat. What's the premise of the story? Don't leave Oregon, Dan Lanning. Don't leave Oregon.
Stay there. You're right.
It's a top 10 job.
It is. It is. And you should. That's right. And again, Oregon could be one of the teams that gets into the. If they win today and beat Washington, and if they can win out, they may be a team that gets into the Final Four. It's too bad they don't have the 12 teams this year, because it would be really interesting with a lot of these teams getting in.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go to UCLA at Oregon State. This is the 8:00 game on Fox tonight. I think it's a very interesting game. And Oregon State is laying 3 and a hook to UCLA. So UCLA gets 3 and a hook as they travel to Corvallis, Oregon, to take on the Oregon State Beavers.
I like that running back at UCLA.
Yes, UCLA has been a very they won last week. They upset my favorite team, Washington State. And now they're and Oregon State beat Cal 52-40, kind of a shootout.
Yeah, you said 3.
I'm going to go with Oregon State's at home up in Corvallis. I'm going to take Oregon State today.
And lay the 3 and a hook.
Yeah.
Yes, I'll take Oregon State. Yes.
Oof. Man. Yeah, that's hard. I'm gonna go Oregon State.
Me too. I'm gonna go Oregon State home team here. Lay the 3 and a hook. Hopefully they win by more. But the way I've been calling, it's been iffy. All right. Well. Okay. That's our picks, Irish Mike. We'll let you know how you did.
Okay.
Yep.
Thanks for having me on, guys. You and Dave, Pat, thanks tremendously. And you both gentlemen have a great weekend.
All right.
You do the
also.
same, man.
Take care, guys. Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right.
Dave Clark.
Yep.
Let's get to the NFL.
Yep. Let's do it.
All right. The Ravens are at the Titans. Now, this isn't at the Titans, and this is in Europe. It's in London.
Right.
9:30 tomorrow on NFL Network. Get to watch that early morning football. The Titans get 4 points. The Ravens obviously coming off a horrible loss at Pittsburgh, where the wide receivers for the Ravens need to learn to catch a football because they can't.
Yeah, I don't know what was going on with them. They got receivers too.
Poor Lamar Jackson was hitting them in the hands and they dropped the ball. I saw 2 drop touchdowns that I could catch.
Yeah.
They were, and I just can't believe it. I think the Ravens come back. Now I heard that they went out early and they've been over there. The Titans went out later, and there's people that I've been hearing talk show, and seems like people seem to like the Ravens to bounce back after a horrendous loss to Pittsburgh, who they should have won.
They should have. Yeah. I think they can. He says 4 and a hook.
4, just 4.
That's
Let me
4.
look to see if it's changed. The last time I saw it, it was a straight 4 points. Let me see if they played with that line any. No, it's 4. Yeah, it's 4 and a hook. So right now the Ravens lay 4 and a hook to the Titans. Titans lost. That was my pick last week. They lost to the Colts. Gardner Minshew. Richardson's going to be out now, I think, at least 4 weeks.
Right.
Maybe 8 weeks. They don't know.
Yeah. I'm gonna go ahead and Ravens should bounce back.
Yeah, you want the Ravens then?
Yeah.
And lay the points? Yeah. I'll go Ravens and lay the points too. We won. We covered the Broncos at the Chiefs. We got a half a point. That field goal saved us at the end, 19-8. It was 10 and a hook. They covered by half a point. Just FYI. Thank God I don't spend it. I'm glad I don't bet money.
Right.
I'd be beside myself. I get worked up watching the games. I don't have any money on them when I'm watching these games. Seeing how good I did on these picks.
Right.
The next one up is the Commanders at the Falcons. It's 1 o'clock on ABC. That game is the Falcons are laying 2.5 to the Commanders, who are on the road, obviously.
Yeah.
Falcons won last week. They beat the Texans 21-19.
Yeah.
Last second field goal to beat the Texans.
They're under the radar team, but I'm gonna go with the Commanders though this week.
And you get 2 and a hook.
Yeah, I think they bounce back. I think they're gonna win outright.
Man, I don't know. I don't trust them. I don't really trust the Falcons either. They're up and down. I'm going to approach. I'm going to go with the home team here.
Okay.
I'm almost to the point sometimes where I'm just inclined when I don't know, just go with the home team and take my chance. Speaking of home teams, the Vikings are at the Chicago Bears. This is now +3. It was 2.5. Now it's went up to +3. Bears get 3 points at home hosting the Vikings. I don't know where do you go with this game.
Yeah, no. A lot of times teams rise when they had a star not playing, and with Jefferson not there. But I'm gonna play the bit. I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna ride Justin Field and the Bears one more week. He's had 8 touchdowns in 2 weeks. Let's see if he can add to that total.
I agree.
I'm gonna go there.
Yep. I'm taking the Bears. I know I wasn't going to. I have. Both these teams are 1-3-1 against the spread. So I don't know what you take from that.
But that makes me take the points then.
Exactly.
Even.
I'm going to take the home team and the points, the Bears. I like the way Fields is starting to develop. I don't know if Minnesota's defense is that good. It's a little shaky. So I'm going to go there. The next one up is the Seattle Seahawks are at the Bengals. Bengals won last week. Unfortunately, I got that one wrong too. They beat the Cardinals in Arizona. Burrow looked pretty good, like Joe Burrow. We kind of know. It is the Bengals are laying 3 points to the Seahawks. Seahawks are coming off a bye.
Ugh.
So they're on the road coming east, playing the Bengals. Probably the weather's going to be kind of crappy, but Seattle's used to kind of rainy, crappy weather, so that shouldn't affect them.
Yeah. That's a tough one.
That's a tough one. Where they are right now, the Bengals are in a situation. I have people thinking, are the Bengals out of it? Not in that division.
No, not there.
No, they're not out of it with that division because, again, I've watched that division. In Baltimore, I find the most annoying team in that division because they should be winning that division hands down. But, boy, Baltimore finds ways to lose a game. And that Pittsburgh game last week was an example of how you can outplay a team and then just totally not score, fourth quarter, fall asleep, and give Pittsburgh a game. I can't believe it, but I digress. Seahawks are at the Bengals. It's -3. What do you got?
I'm gonna go with the home team.
Me too. I'm going home team. I'll lay the points. I'll take the Bengals. Maybe they've righted the ship, sort of to speak. Let's move on to the 49ers at the Cleveland Browns. Now this is 9.5 since it is now Deshaun Watson will not play. He is out. The Browns get 9.5 points. The Niners coming off a unbelievable win over the Dallas Cowboys at home Sunday night. Are they just, are they due? They're going to come east. And yeah, I don't know, 42-10 last week. The Cleveland Browns obviously were bye. They were on the bye last week.
Mm-hmm.
So they didn't play. Is this the 40? Can they, now the only question, I don't know, people think if Watson was playing, they'd have a chance. But with what PJ Walker,
yeah,
I mean,
I'm going San
tough.
Fran. It's going to be tough.
Who do you want? 49ers?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got to go with the 49ers. Let's move on to the Panthers are at the Miami Dolphins. The Dolphins had that big win last week against the Giants.
Mm-hmm.
The Panthers just got absolutely taken out to the woodshed by the Detroit Lions. It's 14 points now, 2 touchdowns even.
Oof.
So you got a lot of wood on this one, minus 14.
It's in Carolina?
No, it's in Miami.
Yeah. Give me the Dolphins.
Yeah. I'll go Fins and lay the wood.
Yeah.
Colts, this is an interesting one. You think long and hard. The Indianapolis Colts at the Jacksonville Jags, minus 4.5. Colts get minus 4.5.
I'm gonna take wow.
These AFC South games never make sense.
Yeah, I'm taking the Colts. Wait a minute.
Me too.
Wait a minute. Who's the team that? No, but discarding Minshew. So
Gardner
Wentz.
Minshew is going to be the Colts quarterback.
Yeah, no. If it was Carson Wentz, I'd be scared. But he had bad luck against him. But I'm gonna definitely go with the Colts. They've been playing pretty tough.
I think the Colts could lose, but they're going to lose like by 3.
Yeah.
So I like the 4.5. I think the Colts will keep it close. Minshew's a good quarterback, and I think the Colts are a better team than what people think. Let's move on to the New Orleans Saints are at the Texans, and now it's +2. Texans get +2. Home dog getting +2. New Orleans Saints shocked me last week, beating Patriots 34-0. I didn't see that coming. In fact, I think we both picked the Saints. And they went up to the Patriots and just took them out to the woodshed. So I don't know what you draw of that. They're on the road. They get great defense. They're taking on the Houston Texans, and the Texans are a home dog getting 2 points.
Man. I'm a Saints. I'm going with the defense.
Me too. I'm going to deviate from the home dog, which means Houston will win because every time I pick against them, they win.
Yeah.
This is one that I think is really interesting. Patriots are at the Raiders.
Yep.
Minus 3 points. The Raiders lay 3 points. They beat the Packers on Monday night. I didn't see that one coming. The Raiders are 2-3. The Patriots are 1-4.
Build on this. It's hard for me. I wouldn't want to go against them anyway, but it's hard for me to just pick the Patriots until they actually show me. I mean, they look dismal.
So, the last 2 weeks, they've been outscored 72-3.
Oh, that's insane.
I don't know what you draw. If you could say, are they done? I have to go with the Raiders.
Yeah, I'm going with the Raiders.
I can't in conscience. I have seen the Patriots, to me, they have one win against the Jets. The Jets have actually improved a little bit since then. But I just see the Patriot team as just a bad football team. It's poorly constructed. People are criticizing Belichick. You're the GM, Bill, the quasi-GM. You're making all the calls, and you've put a bad team together. And you can't argue that when you watch them. When you watch the Patriots play, they look bad.
Yeah.
I mean, they're like going to be a bottom feeder.
Yep.
And if people keep thinking they're going to get better, they're the Patriots. No, that uniform doesn't mean anything. They're not going to get better because they're the Patriots. The team stinks.
Yep, I'm definitely going Raiders.
I'll go Raiders, and they're due to probably lose. But the Raiders are going to, to me, the Raiders are the type of team they're going to end up. I have a feeling, as much as people and they're people complain, and they're going to end up backing into the playoffs somehow, some way as a wild card. I just have this feeling they're like the team that everybody complains about. They stink, they're no good, and they keep winning.
Yeah, that could happen.
I mean, they weren't, Green Bay Monday night. And Green Bay, look, sometimes the Raiders bring the worst out of the team that they play. You notice that? The Packers look so bad on Monday night. It's not that the Raiders played a great game. Those two teams were kind of like bouncing into one another, and not really, it wasn't a great game to watch. But the Packers lost. The Packers seemed like they were dismal.
Yeah.
I thought the Packers would go out and play good, but the Raiders won.
They couldn't block Crosby. I know
that. No, they couldn't. I think it got into just Love's head that he was thinking about Crosby because he threw 3 interceptions. Let's move on. Let's get to the Cardinals at the Rams. This is 7. What is it? Yeah, 7 points. Cardinals are getting 7 points at the Rams.
Man, that's a good one. I'm telling you. Wow. I'm gonna go with the Rams.
Me too. I'll take Rams.
Yep.
I think the Rams are the home team. They're the better team. Let's go to the next one. This game. This is the Eagles are at the Jets. Line just moved to 6.5. The Jets are getting 6 and a hook at home. And they're hosting the Rams. The Eagles beat the Rams last week, covered the spread 23-14. The Jets had the big win against the Broncos, 31-21, moving to 2-3. The Eagles are 5-0. The Eagles are clearly the better football team. I don't think there's any doubt. But they're on the road, 425 against the Jets.
Yeah, I'm gonna still stay with my Eagles.
I'm going with the better team. The Eagles have and the Jets just lost their guard. The kid from USC is
Tucker.
out for the year. Tucker.
Oh, and they already have offensive line.
Right, and they already got offensive line issues, and their offensive guard Tucker is his it's something Tucker.
Yeah,
he's out
Tucker.
for the year. He blew out his I think it was an ACL.
Yeah,
but he's out.
Yeah, I can't think of his first name, but it's something Vera Tucker.
Elijah Vera Tucker.
Yep. Yeah,
he's out
good
for the year. He's the guard 6'5", 308. Elijah Vera Tucker is out for the year. They're going to really miss him bad.
Oh yeah, they need. He's really good.
He's one of their better. He might be their best offensive lineman.
Yep. And the Eagles is missing. I think Jalen Carter is not going to play.
Yes, Jalen Carter's out for them, and one other player.
Yeah.
On them. I had it, but Jalen Carter is out for the Eagles. He won't play.
Right.
But I'm going to go with the Eagles. I just think they have superior line play, and that's what I always like to go with. Lions are at the Bucks. Boy, this is another one that is going to be an interesting game. Mm-hmm. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I mean, Baker Mayfield's playing pretty good for the Buccaneers, and it's 3. And the Tampa Bay Buccaneers get 3 points. Home dog. They come off a bye. The Buccaneers had a bye last week. The Lions had a pretty big win against the Panthers, Carolina 42-24. They dominated that game pretty much from the get-go.
I'm going to take a chance with Tampa Bay.
You almost think the Lions, I hate to say this, but sometimes I think the Lions are due to lose. They play good, but I always think this team is due to blow a game. Could this be the game they blow down in Tampa Bay? And saying that, I think I'll go with the Lions and lay the 3 points.
Yeah.
The next one is pull up the lumber truck. It's the Giants are at the Bills. I just want to know what percentile of fans will be watching the baseball game, say, after the second quarter. Midway through the second quarter, when this turns ugly, how many of those fans are going to be going over to watch the baseball game? That's what I want to know. 15 points, the decision of your day. No Daniel Jones, no Andrew Thomas. Saquon Barkley is questionable, which I don't know if that means anything.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and take Giants. Is not gonna.
No, it's the only question is Tyrod Taylor is the quarterback,
taking
the backup. Can he keep it within? Can the Giants keep this within 15?
They might rattle the troops, but I just got to take Buffalo. That's a lot of points, though.
Well, I think the problem is I know the Buffalo Bills have a couple big defensive players that are hurt.
They do. I wasn't thinking about that too.
And they have
two season,
but yes. And who were the two defensive players?
Milano, I know the linebacker.
Yeah, Milano's one.
I think White is out too. The corner.
Yeah, it might be.
And it's another person too. It's one more.
They got some injuries on Buffalo.
Yeah, main cogs too. Main guys there.
Yeah. The problem is the Giant. It's more of the Giant offensive line is just so horrific. And without Andrew Thomas there, I don't know. They make some adjustments, but I just think this is just going to be another, this is going to be another bad. I got a bad feeling that the Giants, there's no way they're winning the game. It's the only question here is, do they cover?
Yeah.
Daquan Jones is out. That was the defensive tackle for Buffalo. Okay. Matt Milano's out. They're both on injured reserve. Daquan Jones tore the pectoral muscle. He's out. And then Milano did something with the leg. He's out. And you said Tre'Davious White. He's out with an Achilles. He's gone.
Right.
This cornerback. They have lost 3 really big. And then they actually lost Balin Spector, the linebacker's out, also on injured reserve. Hamstring.
Wow.
So they've got a lot of players injured on that. Dalton Kincaid, Dawson Knox, and Dane Jackson are also questionable for the game. So they got a lot of injuries on that Buffalo Bill team. The question's going to be, cover the points. So I'm going to go with the Bills. Let's finish up with the boys at the Bolts.
Oh, I like it.
And I like this game. It's the Monday nighter. I can't wait for this game. And it looks like the Bolts are home dog getting 2 points.
Wow.
So do the Cowboys snap back against the Cow? Yeah, 2 points.
I think they're gonna snap back.
Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna go with the boys. I think that and they are playing Chargers, and you know how the Chargers, they're like the Rodney Dangerfield. What goes wrong will go wrong.
Yeah, I'm taking it.
And they're 2-2. They were bye last week. I think the Cowboys have to snap back on this one.
They have to. So I'm gonna pick them.
Yeah, I'm gonna take, and I'll lay the 2 points too.
Yep.
And figure they'll beat the San Diego. Well, we call them the San Diego Chargers. The LA, we still call them the San Diego Chargers. I'll take the Bolts and get 2 points. I'll lay the 2 points. So
sounds good.
That sounds like the plan. Well, that's our picks, Dave. You've done a great job on the NFL, though. You're definitely the leader in the clubhouse, but you're playing a hack like me, so. That's the music. Thanks, Dave, for doing the show as always.
No problem.
Everybody stay safe. Do not drink and do not drive. Get a designated driver. And we'll be back next week. We'll do this game. We'll do it again. The Saturday Morning Sports Page. Pat Lucia, Dave Clark. Have a safe week. Be safe.
Hi, it's Mark Means, host of By All Means, Tuesdays at 5, right here on Western Reserve Radio, WRDB, The Scourge.
I spend a lot of time in the backyard, and I'm the center of attention at summer barbecues. In '96, I made some of the tastiest s'mores. And at 09, it was me, your backyard fire pit, that accidentally started a wildfire when a summer breeze carried one of my embers into some dry brush.
Spark a change, not a wildfire. Visit SmokeyBear.com. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Hope you enjoyed your meal. And I just want to say, he's lucky to have a brother like you.
Lucky? Caring for my brother is far from easy. But he's a part of me, like my arms and legs, so I'll be his. No time for tired. Nothing can disable this love. He needs me, but I'm the lucky one, even though I need help now and then.
If you're caring for a loved one, visit aarp.org/caregiving for care guides and community. Support for your strength. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
What if I told you that a tornado was going to happen tomorrow, right where you live? That it would touch down at exactly 3:17 p.m., and I told you the exact path it would take. You would, of course, prepare. You would talk with your loved ones, and you'd make a plan today. It's true, I can't tell you a tornado will strike tomorrow, but shouldn't you have a plan anyway? Go to ready.gov/communicate and make your emergency plan today. Don't wait. Communicate. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
This is Mario Andretti. You know me as a race car driver, but I'm also a Meals on Wheels volunteer. I've raced against the sport's biggest personalities, but I've never met more vibrant, amazing people than the seniors served by Meals on Wheels. You can make a difference by dropping off a hot meal and saying a quick hello. So, America, let's do lunch. Volunteer your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org.
This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
If you love history, head over to YouTube and check out Blogging Through History. Hosted by Mineral Ridge High School graduate Chris Mowery, Blogging Through History visits historic sites to explore not only the well-known figures and events of the past, but also compelling stories that maybe you've never heard before. Chris would also like to wish his niece Amira Emsch and the Mineral Ridge Rams the best of luck for a successful 2023 season.
Malutic Live is your home for high school sports. We have all the scores on our social media platforms throughout the games. Enjoy our timely updates from local area schools year-round. You won't get the consistency and reliability from anyone else. Our number one priority is servicing our fans and getting them live news as it's happening. Follow us on social media, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Malutic_live. And remember, our fans come first.
Hamilton was adopted from a rescue in 2008. He really likes to be around people. I get out my mat and I'm doing a downward dog and he's underneath. He's quite the pug about town. He gets invited to a lot of parties. He knows he's a pretty big deal. Look at this little face. How could you not love him?
Hamilton the Pug, Instagram star and shelter pet. Amazing adoption stories start in shelters. Visit theshelterpetproject.org to find a pet near you. Brought to you by Maddie's Fund, the Humane Society of the United States, and the Ad Council.
You make sure his toys don't have any sharp edges. You taught her what to do when the smoke alarm goes off. You do so much to keep your child safe. But are you using the right car seat for your child? Car crashes are a leading killer of children ages 1 to 13. Protect your child's future at every stage of life. For information on the right seat for your child, visit safercar.gov/the-right-seat.
A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council. So you see, son, good manners are important. Should I go through it again?
Yes.
Yes, please.
Yes, please.
Exactly. Always say please, thank you, you're welcome, and excuse me. Sit up straight, hold doors open, don't speak with your mouth full, keep your elbows off the table. Share your things, play nice, and generally treat others the way you'd like to be treated. Got it?
Got it.
And stop picking your nose.
Most parenting is hard to do in just 2 minutes. But 2 minutes twice a day, making sure they brush their teeth is easier, and it could help save them from a lifetime of tooth pain. Visit tunein2x.org to find out more. A message from the Partnership for Healthy Mouths, Healthy Lives, and the Ad Council.
I'm a retired school psychologist, and helping people was my thing. After my stroke, when Meals on Wheels started, I was on the other end of the stick, so to speak. My name is Julius Gaines, creative writer, poet, photographer.
1 in 6 seniors faces the threat of hunger, and millions more live in isolation. Drop off a hot meal and say a quick hello. Volunteer for Meals on Wheels by donating your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org. This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
Miss an episode of By All Means, and you could miss a lot.
That's where it all begins, with the rich sports history that we have in the Valley. We're going to talk national, we're going to talk regional, but it all begins here at home. So that is where a lot of those topics and conversations that we have with you every Tuesday are going to come from.
By All Means, Tuesdays at 5, right here on Western Reserve Radio and streaming live on westernreserveradio.com.
You're listening to Western Reserve Radio at westernreserveradio.com on the Live 365 network and the Live 365 app.
The contract is horrendous squared.
Yeah.
And so there's really no relief in the contract, that you're just going to have to bite the bullet and take it. And you're going to have to rip the Band-Aid off. It's going to hurt, but you're going to have to do it.
Yeah, that's definitely going to hurt. And I don't know how if they were to do this and hit on one of these rookie quarterbacks, whatever that's playing college football right now, then maybe you can kind of counterbalance it. But boy, they're going to be strapped for cash. And they do have guys who are coming up. I mean, Jerry Jeudy, he wants a contract. We can get into that. Patrick Surtain is going to get a contract by someone eventually, one of the best young corners in the league. He's eligible for an extension. Like, how do you maneuver sort of paying some of these younger guys after making a move like this, to where you were pretty much going to bomb your salary cap to go ahead and move on from a mistake that you made?
You clear the deck. They're not going to sign Jeudy. I mean, they're not signing. They'll trade you Jeudy if you want him. They're not signing Jeudy. The only guy they're going to sign is Surtain. They'll trade Cortland Sutton. They'll trade anybody. They'll trade Garrett Bolt. They'll do anything. You got to tear it down. That's the point. This contract forced to tear down. This contract has forced to tear down. And as I wrote about, if you look at their team, their one-loss record since 15, they went to the Super Bowl and won it. Since that time, when Manning left, they've been searching for the future quarterback, and they haven't won any games. They haven't been very good. And they were too late to recognize they needed to rebuild. And when they rebuild, they brought in George Payton to give him the keys to the kingdom, and he's left them in a deeper mess than he was before he got there. Elway created a mess, but George made it worse with this contract and this act of desperation. So it's not good. And I don't care what anybody says. Sean's not going to say we're going to cut Russell Wilson, because he's got to play him for the next 11 games.
Yeah.
But trust me, in January, trust me on this. In January, tunes will change. We'll go from A minor to a B key. It's going to change completely, because I'm not making this up. You can't get away. Now, if Russell says, okay, I won't take the guarantee on the 37. I'll just go. And if you pay me, well, what's the number? What is he worth? Would you pay him 20? I wouldn't. You need another quarterback. If you pay him anything, you still need another quarterback.
Yeah. Well, I can't wait for the week 17 or week 18 Sunday news dump, where we see the insiders start tweeting out how uncertainty around Russell Wilson's future in the Rocky Mountains. I can't wait for that one coming up later on down the line here this season. But George Payton, though, you brought up an interesting point, because Payton got them in a deeper of a mess. Does he get to see this thing through, or do you think that we end up seeing a new general manager around this time next year?
Well, Sean Payton's the general manager. They already have taken Payton's authority away from when they hired Sean. Mm-hmm. What we'll see is if he can get Jeff Ireland out of New Orleans, which everybody in the league thought Jeff Ireland was headed to Denver in the offseason, which didn't happen. And Ryan Pace, the former Bears general manager, could be going there. Sean's going to get somebody he's comfortable with that can run the personnel department. And I think that's where they could be headed. I mean, George has been basically neutralized. He's really we had a Troy on, I forget his last name. He was a great, he knew the Denver team really well. Yep. He knew it really well. And he just basically said that George is basically a college scouting director right now, and that's what he's operating on. But, he's looking at this mess he created. I mean, this has got his fingerprints all over it. Now, Sean hasn't made it any better. With the money he spent on McGlinchey and Zach Allen and some of these guys he brought in free agency, Frank Clark. I mean, it's really kind of comical how bad it has been. I mean, when you look at Frank Clark, let's just take Frank Clark. This is how bad it was. Frank Clark got $1.5 million to sign. His $3.5 million salary was fully guaranteed, and he has a $510,000 per game roster bonuses, and he's got another $2 million in sacks and playtime. So he could earn up to $7.5 million. Now, he was so desperate to get out of there, he took a reduction. down to 1.1 in his salary, which is the minimum he's going to do. He eliminated his per game rosters, and he eliminated the sack and play time. So he's like, okay, if anybody wants me, I'm out. He gave up $200 million. He gave up $2 million to get out of there. That's how bad it is.
Times are tough. Real quick, let's get to the Lombardi look ahead, though. The two plays, not one, you have two of them that you're staying away from a betting standpoint. One in college, one in NFL.
Yeah, the SC Notre Dame game, I don't understand. I mean, I don't trust Lincoln Riley. I don't trust any of that. And then, the pro game, I can't.
I hear you. I hear you.
I can't. I mean, I'm not touching. I don't think, and just being brutally honest here, I don't think the Patriots have hit the bottom yet. I really don't. I think that they're just not good enough. They have no confidence. The way this game has to go for them is their defense, much like what happened with the Jets, their defense is going to have to win the game, they'll make a few plays. I think it's going to be really challenging. So that's the one that I would.
USC, Notre Dame, and Patriots, Raiders, those are the Hall & Oates plays of the week.
I can't go for that. No can do.
Had to get that in there. Line of the week, you're going to the AFC South.
Well, look, there was a stat put out, I forget who put it out online, but essentially whenever teams go to London and they come back in the fourth quarter, I think it's 12 instances, in the fourth quarter, they're either behind or ahead by a point, that they tend to fade on the return. We saw that last week with Atlanta. Most people were on Houston in that game, and Atlanta kicked the field goal to win and it depended on what you got Atlanta, you won. This week, it's the Jags. And I think the Colts at 4 are a good play because I think the Jags will suffer, will have some of that lasting effect. Because remember, the first time they played, the Jags won by 10, but the Colts were on the 1 yard line to try.
With a Bloomberg Business of Sports report, I'm Michael Barr. Formula One mogul Bernie Ecclestone pleaded guilty to a criminal tax fraud charge and was handed a suspended prison sentence for failing to tell British authorities about assets held in a Singapore bank of around the equivalent of $492 million. In a dramatic reversal just weeks before the 92-year-old was due to stand trial, Ecclestone agreed to a $798 million tax settlement. He faced the charge following an investigation into his finances by His Majesty's Revenue and Customs. Reebok says that NBA great Shaquille O'Neal would be officially joining Reebok as the newly created role of president of basketball. Former NBA player Allen Iverson has joined as vice president of basketball. Both of the former athletes have long-standing relationships with Reebok, as well as its parent company, Authentic Brands. With the Bloomberg Business of Sports report, I'm Michael Barr.
Hey, you. The one on the couch who just told your friend you can't go out because you're busy? Ready to get real about your psoriasis? When your current treatments don't do enough to help control the inflammation beneath the skin, causing plaques and pain, stressing and scratching, it's time to stop hiding and get real with your dermatologist so they can help you get clear. Get real clear about psoriasis at letsgetrealclear.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
In business, everything your employees do impacts your brand, including what they wear. Cintas has high-performance workplace apparel for almost every job imaginable. From work shirts and pants, to polos and khakis, to Oxfords or T-shirts, these clothes move, breathe, and look great. Your team gets the styles they like, you convey the image you want. And Cintas service includes weekly laundry and delivery. To learn more, visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
And get ready for the workday.
Imagine learning about radio and being mentored by true radio professionals in real radio stations. Well, actually, you don't have to imagine because there's Radio Connection. Radio Connection gives you the opportunity to learn one-on-one and be mentored by radio pros. Plus, you don't have to worry about getting into a crazy amount of debt with school tuition either. Radio Connection keeps their tuition at much lower costs. To find out more info, visit radioconnection.com.
Sports Map Tonight with Luke Morrow.
But the great thing about QBR is that they bring into account the situation of the game. How do you do on third down? How do you do in the second half? How do you do when your team's trailing? So on and so forth. But there's always the difference between the people who just look at box scores and people that actually watch the games. You can look at the numbers all you want. Russell Wilson, the offense hasn't been good enough. They haven't been the biggest problem, but in general, that's where QBR comes in. Stats are like bikinis. They show a lot, but not everything.
Sports Map Tonight, weeknights from 10 to 1 Eastern. You're listening to the Lombardi Line on the SportsMap Radio Network. Here's Michael Lombardi and Patrick Maher.
This is the Lombardi Line with former NFL executive Michael Lombardi. Now here is your host, Femi Abebefe on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Welcome back. This is the Lombardi Line on the DraftKings Network here on this College Football Saturday. Femi Abebefe, Michael Lombardi hanging out here on October 14th. Michael out in the great city of New Jersey. I'm here in downtown Las Vegas. And joining us now to sort of set the stage and watch these college football games from more of an evaluation standpoint for the NFL, we're bringing in our guy, Bucky Brooks, over at the NFL Network and Fox Sports, played in the NFL as well. Bucky, we appreciate you joining us here on the Lombardi Line. Bucky, you joined us during the draft process, so this is kind of a chance to sort of set the stage. And from the untrained eye, Caleb Williams looks like the absolute real deal. USC is playing Notre Dame coming up later on this evening. Is Caleb Williams as good as he is advertised?
I mean, he's a really good player. And I think when you're looking at franchise quarterbacks, the one thing that real franchise quarterbacks can do is they can always make the play caller right. Through their ability to either execute the script or execute off the script, they have the ability to make every play right with their natural talent. Caleb Williams has that. Now, I would say his best moments not only happen when he's in rhythm, but when he escapes the pocket, he has enough athleticism to run it if he wants to run, but he runs with his eyes down the field to make big plays. And when you look at this SC team, well, I mean, I know they're getting talked about being a team that could be in the playoff. The only reason they're in that conversation is because of him. And so to me, when you have a player like that that can elevate the team, that's when you begin to look at the traits and the gifts and that extra stuff and say, oh, yeah, he can be a franchise quarterback at the next level.
Yeah, I think he captured it perfectly. I mean, because he's making everybody else better. And I'm not sure that this ST team is as good as everybody thinks. I think the fact that they're a dog to Notre Dame on the road proves that. How about Drake May? Is he the number 2 guy, or is there someone else? Is it Michael Penix? I know we have a lot of work to do in this draft, but I do think there's a lot of teams that know this is a great quarterback draft. And, you know, that's why there may be some hesitation in trying to trade for Kirk Cousins, because you give up the chance at one of these guys. Who's your second best quarterback if Caleb's one?
So here's the funny thing. So Drake May is near and dear to my heart because I'm a Tar Heel. He's playing under my former coach, Mac Brown. And I know his dad really well. When I was at Carolina, his dad had just played at Carolina as a quarterback, was a big-time 3-sport athlete in North Carolina. So that's part of the pedigree. Drake May is the prototypical franchise quarterback that everyone has looked for the last 30 years. He's 6'3", 6'4". He can play it from the pocket. He's athletic. He can get on the edge. I've talked about his family history because his brothers have played high-level basketball and baseball in college. So this is a kid who gets it. But the thing that people will appreciate about him, he's all business when it comes to playing the game. He's a yes, sir, no, sir kid. He's serious about his preparation and process. And even though I would say he's only played football in college for 2 years, because remember, he didn't play his last season in high school due to COVID. He redshirted didn't play behind Sam Howell. So he's only played a year and a half. So his best football is ahead. But all the things that you look for, not only physically, but the intangible traits, he has it. And there's going to be some conversation depending on who's the number one, who gets the number 1 pick. There will be more conversation about Caleb Williams versus Drake May than just Caleb Williams and then everybody else.
Wow. No,
bingo. He nailed it. He nailed it, Femi. He nailed it. That's exactly right.
Yeah, that's a
I
strong
think everybody just assumed Caleb is going to be the number 1, but I think Bucky nailed it because the more you dig into the personality of Drake May, the more teams are going to gravitate. Not that Caleb Williams' personality isn't great, but this kid's got some unique skills that few have.
I think that's excellent insight because I think most people think that can Drake May protect his QB2 spot, but that sounds like he's really in the conversation for QB1 between he and Caleb Williams. We're speaking with Bucky Brooks, former NFL player, now analyst over at NFL Network and Fox Sports. Well, if we talked about May and Williams, those are the top 2 guys. It appears like, at least as of right now here in October, still a long way to go until we get to the draft process. How about the Pac-12 showdown in Seattle today? Michael Penix, Bo Nix, both those guys have seen themselves kind of rise up the ranks over the last year or so. Where are you at with Michael Penix, the Washington quarterback?
Hey, I really like Michael Penix. I really love him. I had a chance to meet him and talk to him a lot this summer. And I think what we're seeing, and some of this is going to be the Brock Purdy effect, you're seeing these older quarterbacks that come into the National Football League, Brock Purdy, Aiden O'Connell, guys that played a lot. they have advantages over the other young guys that come in. Michael Penix will fall into that category. You have to remember, he played at Indiana before he goes to UW. He suffered a series of injuries, but all of that bought him time to be around the college game. This is a real mature player, really smart. He's learned how to not lean as much on his athleticism and become a guy that can deal from the pocket. When you think about him, because he talked about the relationship that he has with the head coach there, who was with him, I think, at Indiana. That's why he ended up there. He really has a high IQ. He has good instinct and awareness. He's a really good player. And you see him on the big stage at UW, he plays. And he plays at a high level. This is a great showcase game for him and also Bo Nix. But I'm really excited about Michael Penix because I was kind of on that line, like maybe he's a franchise guy. Maybe he's like that second rounder that develops into it. I think he's firmly in the conversation as a guy that can be a frontline starter in the league.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, he done it all. And I think DeBoard has really, those two, that partnership from Indiana, because when he didn't have DeBoard at Indiana, he wasn't the same player, but you can see how the system meets the talent. So, Bucky, going back over last year's draft, I mean, everybody's down on Bryce Young. He's getting killed. I actually think Bryce Young looks really good. I don't think he gets a lot of help from his offensive line. C.J. Stroud has looked sensational. What are your thoughts of the young quarterback so far this year?
So it's funny because I had a chance to coach Bryce Young and C.J. Stroud together at a team at an event like Elite 11. And I would say this, Bryce Young has always been the ballyhoo guy. C.J. Stroud has always kind of flown under the radar, but he's the guy that's really, he kind of has the tools and the it stuff, right? So people see him deal from the pocket. He has all that natural talent and he can throw it. And, you know, he didn't want to leave the pocket much at Ohio State, but the athleticism is there. I think the most impressive part is C.J. Stroud that we're seeing is a guy that we always talk about the quarterback making it better. Where I do the sideline reports for the Jacksonville Jaguars. So that game, the second game of the year, he's down 4 offensive linemen. I don't know who he's throwing to on the perimeter, but yet he leads them to a win, and it's because of him. It's because of his ability to make pinpoint throws, his ability to get out of trouble and make plays in a pocket. And we always talk about, man, the great ones can mask all the other stuff. C.J. Stroud is doing that. I think the Houston Texans kind of fell into a franchise quarterback that might have been even better than they thought when they were going through the draft process.
Yeah, so far, so good right now. C.J. Stroud, the betting favorite to be Offensive Rookie of the Year. Real quick here on this upcoming class that we're about to see in 2024. How many quarterbacks do you ultimately think go in the first round? Are we talking about 4, 5, maybe even 6 quarterbacks? Is it going to be that high?
I think we always overhype it right now. There may be 4 or 5 that go, but I think it always comes down to there are 2 legitimate ones that I know are first-round talent, like Caleb Williams and Drake May. Michael Penix, Bo Nix, and some of the other guys that are into the conversation, they're talented enough to be taken up there, but I don't know if they're going to be that. And we always know if 5 are going, it only ends up being 1 or 2 that end up being legit. So those 2 at the top, I feel really good about. The other guys I like, but I can't say that I love them enough to say that, hey, these guys are going to be game changers that shift the league when they enter.
Yeah, I think that's right. We need more time to evaluate. I think we're so quick to rush to the judgment and to proclaim the guy the savior. And we all know that from Brock Purdy, if they're in the right system in the right place, they can certainly, they look really good and people think they look better than they are. But actually, it's the system meeting the talent of the player. Which team has surprised you so far, Bucky, in the 6 games, in the 5 weeks of the season?
Oh, man, like it's funny because I'm sitting here and I'm looking at the Indianapolis Colts win games. I'm looking at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers win game with Baker Mayfield playing like we thought he would play in terms of a high-end game manager. Those 2 teams have been really impressive. But I'll be honest with you, Mike, I've never been more impressed with the San Francisco 49ers than ever. In terms of like the sheer dominance that they play with, the way that they knocked out and dominated the Dallas Cowboys. And I don't know if Dallas was as good as people talked about. But when I look at the Niners, I kind of see a team that's on a mission. And the fact that we're having this conversation about Brock Purdy, because everyone in the league, scouts are trying to figure out what did we miss on him. I watched him at the East West Shrine game and that stuff, but he's the right fit in the right place with the right pieces around it. Ultimately, they're going to have to pay him or figure out how to pay him. But, man, the San Francisco 49ers, they look like the team that is going to roll through the league. And them and the Philadelphia Eagles having that showdown, I think it's week 13. I can't wait to see it because, to me, they're the best teams. The Eagles aren't playing like that, but the Niners are clearly head and shoulders above everybody else right now.
Yeah, they're on a collision course. That game will be played in Philadelphia. Cannot wait to see that one, a rematch of last year's NFC title game. Real quick, Buck, we got about 30 seconds left. Who's the best team in your opinion in the AFC?
I think the Kansas City Chiefs, but I think the Kansas City Chiefs are the best team differently. Their defense is much better than we've ever seen. The young guys had an opportunity to play last year. They're playing more man coverage, and the coverage is tight. And what that has enabled them to do is play a different style on the offense. They're not the high-flying, explosive team. They're actually playing more complementary football. I think they'll be in more tighter games, but their defense can carry it. And I think what you're seeing is Andy Reid leaning to the run again. He needs to lean into it more, but they can get it done because they always have Patrick Mahomes.
All right. He is Bucky Brooks. Check him out over on NFL Network and Fox Sports. We always have a pleasure of having Bucky Brooks on here. Bucky, we appreciate it. Be well.
Hey, thanks so much, Mike. Thanks for your book, man. I just got it the other day.
Oh, great. Thank you, Bucky.
There we go. Football done right. Get it wherever you get your books.
It's not available on gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin.
Hey, good morning. You're heading to the airport, right?
Yep, thanks for checking. I like the car. How long have you been a rideshare driver?
About 3 years now. I really enjoy it.
Isn't it hard to make money these days with the price of gas being so high?
Not for me. I use Upside, the free app that gives you cash back for every gallon of gas you buy.
Wait a minute. Are you saying you actually get real money back when you get gas with the Upside app?
Yep, I get real cash back every time I get gas.
Does that actually add up to anything?
I'll make around $200 to $300.
Wow, that's serious extra cash. I'm downloading the Upside app now.
Download the free Upside app now to earn real cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code RACE for an extra 25 cents a gallon bonus on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank account, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code RACE for a 25 cents a gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code RACE.
Children are the greatest joy and our best hope for a better future. Friends, they are the future. But did you know that millions of kids right here in our own backyard are facing hunger every day? Without healthy food, it's harder to grow, to thrive, to feel their best.
The impact when children don't have enough to eat